soca. And from your experience, steel band music came after. You have to provide great entertainment. Same you who have to bring down band government. You mean so much to we. Yay! Love you. We have about 17 verses, but tonight is just free. Love you. Hey! I love you, Dominica. Story out, what of your children deserts you? Fans want to know how you're going to survive. Rumors say part of the crew have their issues. It's on your weakness someone to thrive. But I will never sit by and let my baby suffer. If I can walk, I'll fly to be right in your corner. I promise to always be by your side. I'm willing to prop you up if you slide. You mean so much to me. I love you, baby. Calypso do do, no matter how steep is your mountain. Deep is the valley. I am always willing to promote your name. Cause you mean so much to me. They could come with 365 rivers, the whole of Trafalgar Falls. Nobody could steal your flowers. No water can quench my love because I really no battalion could hold this good loving down. No police force could ever cause all divorce. Say, boom bam bam bay, boom 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 bay, hey.
Well, tonight is the first of the programs in reference to Kaiso Pawol, and tonight is going to be a big night for us.
None of us is bigger than he who made us.
So tonight, as I said, it's going to be a very big night for Calypso. We have with us in Studio 2, Duncan Stowe and Mr. Edgar Hunter. And in Studio 3, I have with me Mr. Ashton Luge Wackers. And we are going to do some talking on the issue of the eliminations, and we're going to look at the whole issue of Calypsos this year. And just want to say good evening to you folks in Studio 2. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Cecil. Good evening to your viewers and listeners to DBS. Pleasure to be here once more. Another Calypso season, albeit a little different. We in the, as we call it, how do we say it?
Pandemic.
pandemic, which is endemic at this
It's
time.
becoming endemic.
The virtual world.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
What about you, Edgar?
Good evening, Cecil, and good evening to all the listeners of DBS Radio. Those listening to us on their television, those listening to us on the radio, in their vehicle, and especially those on social media, on Facebook. I see my good friend John Chris and Cora Elwin Shillingford and Gerald Judge is listening, so I want to say good night to them.
Good evening to you, workers.
Good evening to the listeners out there in the diaspora. Good evening to listeners here in Dominica. And I'd just like to welcome you all to the first Calypso Power Show for 2022, albeit virtually and live streaming, and of course live at DBS. And it's my pleasure to be here, Cecil, tonight.
And while it's your pleasure to be here tonight, I just want to say to the many listeners that we are tonight live on our YouTube and Facebook. And I'm so elated about that, our first program. And people who would like to view us, they can view us. And I'm sure that you will take the opportunity to also make your comments. So let's start the ball rolling. Duncan, I know that you were at the elimination. Give me your views of the 39 Calypsonians who sang on Saturday night.
Well, I wouldn't take them individually, though. What I would say is from, a general perspective, I think there has been much effort this year to try to vary the topics. I made that comment during the show on Saturday evening. I have, however, seen much better years in terms of maybe the quality of Calypsos. I don't think this has been one of our best years, but I would give certainly an A for the effort that persons used in varied topics and trying to employ, as Edgar loves to say, the literary devices, the hyperboles, the metaphoric language, and recognizing many of them did recognize that, listen, when you're dealing with Calypso and you're writing Calypso, you're in the realm of poetry. And you're writing a poem, you're trying to conjure images, bring out feelings and that type of thing. One of the things that I always look out for in Calypso writing is the rhyme. I mean, you ought not to write a Calypso and leave out the rhyme. And Walkers and I were chatting earlier, and I don't know if you could find that song, Cecil. I know you're very good at pulling out songs, but I would really like us to play this evening something from the great Spider, one of our Calypso legends. That song where he says about the apparatus and me going down slowly. I don't remember the title of that song, but that song from Spider certainly we could use as an example, as one where he's using the poetry, using the rhythm of poetry, using the rhyme, and bringing out his ideas and bringing out the message that he has in this piece of, I would say, social political commentary by the mighty Spider. But we have, I will pause here, Cecil, from the comments that I would make in terms of the general feeling and thinking from me as it relates to what is happening this year in terms of the contribution from the various artists, competitors, writers, musicians this year.
And Workers, I know that you are a composer, writer also. I would like to find out from you, after hearing what Duncan had to say, what do you think of the composition? Although it's two verses and two choruses that were able to be given to us, But what is your make of this year's Calypsos?
Well, I share Duncan's view. You know, we always seem to share the same view, me and Duncan, because at the musical level, and as you know, well, most people will know I'm a musician more than a composer or writer. I think I am not that strong in writing. I think I'm better at music and arrangements and understanding compositions more than writing. Although I can write. But generally, and I would say that in between sleeping and waking up and watching the show, because I watch the show, but that was in between sleeping and getting up, you know. I found generally that some of the music, some of the general music and the melodies and these things were very, very reasonable, very good. And others, I think, were very lacking. Some song like maybe like monotonous. I've heard it already somewhere. But I also say that you try to find your style, because each calypso and each musician, if you listen, and I like to use, and we always talk about that, using Trinidad as a benchmark, whether we like it or not, we have to use. Once we talk calypso, we use Trinidad as a benchmark as an indicator of how we should do calypso. And you notice that each calypsonian has his own style, his own rhythm. If you listen to Crazy, you listen to Sparrow, you hear the great Kitsch, you hear Melody even go way back, you hear Blakey, you hear Zandoli. They all have their style that you know from the time you hear them. That is Zandoli, that is Sparrow, that is Kitchener, that is Crazy. So you develop a style over the years. So while people may criticize and say, you sound similar, you may sound like I heard that before, you develop that style. You develop a style where you have your own rhythm, your own music. And when you come and sing your song as do that, it's the same style that he has. The same thing happened here. And it happened with our music. In the Cardass era, we realized that earlier on, we had our own style. Exile One, Gramax, you hear them, Groovers, you know, Midnight, the band from Portsmouth, you know, Duncan Brother was in that band. The Milestones, yes. They all had their unique style and you could identify them. So that is what happened in music. You develop your own niche, your own style over years of creating. And that comes with time. I'm sure maybe Gordon Anderson might be listening to me and he may be agreeing to that. So you develop that. And even coming down to the Booyah, you understand that WCK have their style. Triple K develop their own style. So sometimes it is the fact that over time you develop a certain rhythm or style, and that comes with, and then you start to develop that. So generally, I would say you can argue and say that some of them need to be a little more into their rhythm, and you can say that they need to be worked on probably the style, because some style don't fit certain artists, and you hear them singing over a rhythm that doesn't fit them, so they don't fit into it, and that is something we have to really talk and look into.
A great point that Wackers is actually making. Edgar, as a commentator, there are times that we make the error in indicating that we heard that melody before from another song, and we see that people rehash. Give me your comment on that aspect of the Calypso in terms of melody, Edgar.
Well, before I do that though, in terms of the Eliminations, I stayed up all night listening to Daryl, Duncan and yourself doing a wonderful job. I must say that the clarity, the kind of resolution DBS have is, way above everything else I see from Dominic, and I want to congratulate DBS on that kind of work. In terms, it's very early to try to analyze Calypso. The elimination is the elimination, and in the elimination is like you take everything in a bag and basically, and people move on usually based on their ability to be better. I think it's when we reach to the next round, the semifinals, then we may be in a better position to see. But based on what I'm hearing, though, I feel lyrically, there has been a much improvement. Last year we lamented about the lyrics of the songs, but I see a lot of effort has been made. And as Duncan mentioned earlier, I spoke about the use of literary devices, the sarcasm, the pun, the metaphors, the hyperbole, and all the other different literary devices. And I actually seen some of that coming through. So we are having an impact on what is happening in Calypso. Melody, I kind of get a little tired of speaking about melody. You know, I reach a point like it become the accepted norm, basically, that I mean, people rehash melodies. So who doesn't do it? That is the problem. It's not to say I can say, well, artist A doing it and artist B not doing it. It look like as if it becomes the norm. So what do I do? You know, so, and also, what one of my big concerns, though, is arrangement. I think our producers have to, and our arrangers, well, I don't know if we have arrangers in Dominica, but a lot of it happens in the studio. Most people just go to a studio and the studio create. But Calypso is a music that needs to be arranged too. I mean, when we came in there, we heard a song from Hunter, Calypso My Love. And I was commenting to Duncan, if you listen to the type of backup that was used to say, I love you. It helped build the arrangement of the song, you know. So the arrangement is key, you know. And I think Dominicans, we have to start to look at. It's not just about producing music, but Calypso need to create the mood of the song, you know, to make it sweet on the ear, you know, to help the artist to even bring it out even better. Arrangement is key. So I feel very concerned that our arrangement is just, I don't know if it's because we just use just the keyboard, you know, or maybe a lot of the keyboardists that don't understand, for example, horns is very important. How you use horns and the impact horns can have. You know, I mean, I remember once Bob used a Spanish guitar in a Calypso, and to me that brought something new to arrangement. You know, so I'm very concerned about the arrangement. But generally, I'll tell you, based on what I've been hearing, even those in the next round, I will say that compared to last year, there is a marked improvement. Calypso is definitely on the rise this year.
Now, guys, Duncan, I need to find out from you, because you're one of the commentators who describes the art form, especially the lyrical contents of any Calypsonian. I want to find out from you, Duncan, because I know that you two, you have sung many years ago. I remember the days of SME. You two do some writing. I want to find out from you, what element does a writer goes into to ensure that he gives the listeners, the people who are going to actually critique that Calypso, what element that these people go into to ensure that they give good writing or give us the kind of lyrical content that we want?
Well, I think a lot has to do with the topic. First of all, I guess based on the topic that the writer has, he as the writer would decide which avenue he's going to use to bring out his message. Whether he's going to use a double entendre, whether he's going to use a pun, whether he's going to use what any of the other devices that he's decided he's going to use to bring out his message to the people. So because it's a piece of art in terms of writing, then if you were to take it and compare it with maybe an artist who paints, the painter decides, okay, this is how I'm going to bring my message out. This is what the imagery I'm going to create. These are the tones, these are the shades that I'm going to use. And it's the same for the writer. The writer now, based on the fact that he's trying to create a message, he has a narrative that he's trying to put forward. He decides, okay, these are the best choice of words, and this is the best way in terms of structuring. And of course, Edgar was talking about in terms of arrangement, the type of chords would assist you in creating your mood and better assist you in communicating your message. So these, I think, are the considerations that the writer would have and take into account when he is trying to put whatever the message, whatever he's trying to tell the audience, whatever he's trying to communicate the audience. Your style, your thoughts would work together with that message that you're trying to create. I think that is the approach I believe most writers would take. Some people do things differently. Some persons come across a melody and then they try to put words to the melody. And it could be just out of a basic conversation, you know, that we're having a conversation here tonight, and a caller calls and says something, and the way the caller runs that line, you say, man, that's a good idea for a Calypso, you know, because let us go back to the basics that we enjoyed as children. I'm thinking of something like, we'd say, Peter Pepper picked up a pickled pepper, whatever, alliteration. This is a literary device. Yeah. So somebody might say, okay, very good example, we have it this year. Pooh, Mr. Pooh. You know, and then he ties C with Mr. Pooh. And he spins with Pooh and the C and trying to bring his message across in a form of what some persons might say pun, some persons might say smart, some persons might say double entendre. He's spinning. And this is his choice based on two words, Pooh and C, or if you want to switch it around, C and Pooh.
No, Duncan, I want to find out from you. I should maybe say, let me just ask Edgar. In reference to, after you have done the lyrical content of your song, of a song, you have to deal with the narration of that song. How do you, Edgar, how does a writer determines, especially if he's writing for more than one person, how does that person who is the writer determines who can narrate that lyrical content that he gave to the Calypso? How does that individual determine?
I was very close at the time to the great Pat Aaron. And I remember he used to write for a number of people. And he was very good at letting the jacket fit whoever the artist was. That was one of his best skills. That he could write a song. I remember Saint, when he used to be under Pat Aaron, he made it to the finals back-to-back 2 years. And he had two big hits. One of them, I think, was...
Left Foot, Right Foot?
Left Foot, Right Foot, and the other one was Gallon Bottle.
Gallon Bottle.
You mean
right?
Son of the Saint?
Yeah, Son of the Saint. Well, I call him Saint too, but it's Son of the Saint. Right. Yeah, SOS.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, he wasn't the greatest of artists, but Pat happened to give him material that brought out, because I mean, in terms of presenting materials, he's a monster. He can present material. And Pat ended up giving him that. And even Observer, Pat's work with Observer, and Observer became king the first year Pat worked with him. And both years. So, you know, the writer, some writers have that skill to, you know, just write a song, but the vessel that's going to bring out that song is very important. I was speaking to Duncan sometime in the week, and I remember I was telling him, Ian Jackson is a very good writer, but I'm very concerned about the vessels that bringing out his message. You have to, my advice to him would be he needs to start to look at that All Win song. It is a big song, but I guess because of who is singing it, and I hope Triumph will take it, but I'm trying to diss on him, but the bringing out this, not getting the kind of message, not as pungent as it should be. You know, and so the vessel is very important as to who brings out the message. And writers have to be able to say, well, okay, that voice maybe suit better, or even the way the person presents material will suit better. If you have let's say, for example, a comedy kind of, you want to do humor, it's not every artist that can do humor. I remember one Observer tried to do a humor, and it did not work for him, because generally he's not a humorous kind of guy, you know. So you have to know who your artist is.
I think that, Cecil, that is one of the hallmarks of a good writer. The ability to maybe write a song to suit the person. And a lot of it would depend on the vocal range of the artist,
right.
One.
Yes.
And maybe the message that you're trying to create. Some persons might be able to sing in a low, some persons might be able to sing in a high range. And totally, I think in total, it depends on the message that you're trying to create or you're trying to bring across, and the range. I always remember, I'll give you a true story. I remember once in the company of a few radio announcers, that was after a show in Trinidad. and Joker Devines, Winsford Joker Devines, who was one of the best writers, or is one of the best, has been one of the best writers over the years. He wrote things like Philip My Dear for The Mighty Sparrow, and a lot of big hits. Joker Devines penned them, and he was the one who penned that song which was sung by King Austin, Progress. And some of the things the scriptures predict truthfully comes to pass. You know, and he was saying that, I don't remember who it was, somebody brought King Austin to him, and he asked King Austin to sing a few notes. And when King Austin belted out his voice, he said, "This is the man to sing Progress." And he gave Progress to sing to King Austin. So you see, in addition, I think a lot depends on the voice, the range, the pitch, and the message that you're trying to create, or the way, the mood you're trying to create with Progress.
Yes,
I don't know if you want, you can bring out Progress now. If you can pull up something like Progress, maybe after Wackers, maybe we to make some sort of contribution. Wackers?
On the level of music and the understanding how music works, I think if you have an understanding, especially if you have the theoretical understanding of music, then you would understand the different types of songs. Okay, look at it. There are two types of really moods in music. One is the happy music, and one is the sad.
Right.
And with each of them, there is the type of arrangement, melodies that you can apply to it. For instance, Bob Marley, Don't Worry About a Thing. Three Little Birds is a good example. And we all have to agree, that's a lively song. Everybody that sings that is in a happy mood. Don't worry about a thing. 3 chords are in that. Only 3 chords. And those 3 chords have made it all over the world. Everybody, any child sing that song. The mood of it, the tone of it. And the musician will bring out those songs to create that mood. The artist himself sings in that mood. So they can work interchangeably, where the artist reveals the mood, or the musician, the arranger, brings out the mood to you. And Duncan is right about it applies. You hear a singer, because people say he's not a good singer. They may have said that about Jacob Dizari, may his soul rest in peace.
Yes.
When he first came out, everybody thought, what a voice, the voice, it was unique to him. And you notice that it applied to his kind of music.
It did.
And anytime Jacob sing in a live show, you hear the crowd going mad. You understand? The same thing can apply to Shadow. Shadow is a Calypso that came in for unique, unusual Calypso style. Because Bassman from Hell, dum 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 boom, you know, he came with that style, and everybody, and the music fitted to exactly what he was doing, which is what Duncan and Edgar really said. So it works both ways, and you're right about.
But we don't have to even go far. In Dominica, we had Zay and we had Yensi.
That's right.
You know,
and they both got king.
They both got king
with what people would call not a nice voice, you know, not the best of voice.
But
it's the use of the voice in relation to the music that he gets, and it can fit and it can apply. So,
and not just the music, the kind of lyrics.
The kind of lyrics.
Like if you know the person has got a lot of range,
right,
and you want to give them highs and lows and all that.
So it's a musical thing. Look at that. I use again, and me and Duncan was talking about it earlier. When Caressa sang that song, the minor key or the minor something, it was use of good words, language, but he did the song actually
in the minor
thing, and that mood helped the song and really revolutionized the whole Calypso thing that I found, and it was really accepted. So that's the kind of feeling you get when you change up the mood and fits it to the artist.
Let's hear Progress, King Austin.
When I look around in the world, what do I see? I see footprints that man have left on the sand while walking through times. I see fruits of our ambitions, arrangements of our imagination. And I ask myself, when will it end? When will it end? It is plain to see, universally this land is not bountiful as it was, simply because in this quest for success, nothing stands in man's way. All rivers run dry, soon the birds won't fly, the mountains will be no longer high. And when I really think of it, yes, I just wonder why. Why? I see charity deplored, equal rights totally ignored, wisdom and ingenuity working in accord, simply to afford such inventions as thermonuclear warfare and environmental warfare. And I wonder now, where do we go from here? Prophets everywhere gaze upon the horizon and declare that judgment will come as the savage hands of unscrupulous men defile everything passed by. Time is running out as we eat and drink species at the brink of being extinct, yeah. And I think no one can deny that the price of progress is high, really, really high, high, high. I see consciousness abate as to deal with the recklessly. Money make egos inflate and thereby create a turbulent state. I see a struggle between the sexes, new hang-ups and old complexes. Now the question is, right in context.
A big one many years ago, Duncan. This one, quite a lot of bass in this one. You can literally hear the bass in this one. And as you said in reference to his vocal chords, he's not a guy that sings on high chords or high notes, sorry.
He does. He's hitting it. Mm-hmm. So then Joker Devines, who wrote this one, was saying he just felt that that was the best man and that was the best voice to bring that type of message across. And I think it's rated as one of the best calypsos ever written in the world.
Yeah, and I could also add to that, everything fits in properly in that calypso. The music is right there with the vocals, the arrangements is right there. He sings it properly. The lyrics are very good. Top, and the song is delivered appropriately. So that is a perfect example.
And the mood is, you know.
Catches the mood.
Yeah, the mood is, everything brings out the mood.
That is the
Cecil,
point.
while we are at it, I just want to big up some of the people on the live, and tell them share the live. We have Snapper Laura, Jamie Thomas from the Carinago territory, Curly Pascal, Molly Isaac, and Rosie Knight. Big up and share the live, please.
And also, guys, I want to find out from you, Duncan, because you use the words pond, double temps. You also use mask, and we know of wits and satire. For the listeners out there, we need to break it down because there are people who are very much interested today in the whole theory of calypsos and how best that we can write a good calypso. So and to really attract to the ears. Help us on that, Duncan.
Well, there are so many areas, Cecil. If you want to start by double entendre is where you use a phrase or a word and it has a double meaning, and you craft it in such a way that you leave it to the listener's imagination or the listener's interpretation to conclude. A pun is maybe where you take a word that you could have different meanings to that word, and you make jokes with it, so you have the the listeners chuckling right down to their knees. You know, and it's not a long list. It goes on. But the intention, Cecil, when you use poetic language, is, as we say, you're trying to conjure images, and you're trying to evoke feelings in the persona of the listener.
Yes. What about you, workers?
Well, Duncan said it right. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that sometimes he didn't add for maybe legal reasons. You have to sometimes to go to direct, and you cannot be challenged by the way you sing. You know, a good example of that song is maybe probably Pooh seeing. Pooh seeing good. Pooh is actually a blind man, and Pooh can see now. You know, so who can challenge him? I mean, so the use of imagination, it cannot be challenged legally, and then sometimes people use that. So you ask about other things, and I think Duncan should maybe continue in terms of what he just mentioned one, the double attack, but what are the other ones like porn and those things?
Well, he mentioned porn. He dealt with the porn.
I dealt with it, yes.
And when he talk about hyperbole, for example, is exaggeration. You exaggerate a situation to score the point. I mean, when you speak with them, we like to speak about, say, a song is witty. Basically, it's how you use words, how cleverly you can use words, you know, especially in a humorous way. You know, when you speak about satire, basically, usually they use that to expose things like corruption and politicians. And what the writers do is that they may use humor, or they may use irony, or exaggeration or ridicule, you know, and try to bring out issues about, let's say, politicians. Because politicians in Dominica will like political calypso. So usually most of it is, well, you know about sarcasm, Cecil. I guess most people know about sarcasm. Is a word we use a lot. So we can try to tell somebody they're great when we really want to tell them that they're foolish, you know?
Also, oftentimes I have said that a calypso is like a hyperbole. That is one of the elements that you can implement in terms of the bringing out a message. Is hyperbole basically is where you take a statement and you exaggerate on it. So something about Cecil, you know, boy, Cecil gets so much licks, you know, that I say Cecil dead for real, you know. That type of thing, you know.
Let's hear this thing from Ridge before. Yes,
but I wanted to go further, and we have a few of them this year. Cuckoo for sale, cuckoo for sale.
I was just about to go to that.
Who's selling it? Who giving it? Wet cocoa, dry cocoa, cocoa stick.
Yes.
That I mean, that's a classic.
But let's take this.
And before you go, I want to congratulate the writer, Bass.
But before we go to that,
wrote that
I think we will
come
come to that. We'll definitely come to that. Let's listen to this one.
Wow. Boy. Shopper. Ding de die. Dung de die. Who is a young blind man in Whitey Kubuli? Who is miserable? Who cannot find his way? So who wanted a remedy? He tried the doctor, he tried the obia. Finally he went charismatic conference. Suddenly, who see everything? Who see in the choir loft? Who see in the government? Who see in the state house? Who see in the disappointment? Now who have to get glasses for all the eyes? It strain his eyes. Who go buy a telescope? Cause who still looking for hope? Right! Dung de do de. What will pussy? Boy! Cross the bridge now. Shopper! Dung de die. I.
Yes, guys, tell us a little bit about Pooh and C. Duncan. Is there a lot of double time in this one? Is there a lot of satire in this one? Is there a lot of masking in this one? Tell us exactly what this one is talking about.
Well, he's certainly employing the mass, I think, in Pussy, or Pooh and C. I don't know. It's a good effort at trying to employ the mask or spinning. I'm trying to employ the double entendre, and to a little extent, well, the pun. When I heard this song, I was kind of expecting something different. Somehow or the other, if I were to write that song, I would have tried to have brought out much more humor, because I think it is the type of song that you have a lot of latitude that you can run with the concept. But it is his work. It is his thoughts. He tells you that it's a blind man and all what happened to the blind man when he carries you through the story. I might have taken a different approach, and I'm sure maybe a different writer, if you had given it to an Alwyn Bully, he might have written something different. Patty Ron might have written a different approach. But the concept of using C and Pooh, or Pooh and C, however you want to put it, and playing on the expression that we are used to. I guess you have to respect the man and say, okay, well, yes, good effort.
Workers, Pooh and C. If you were to put these two words together, we would get a different actual word. Do you see a lot of masking in this one?
Oh yes, I mean,
come closer.
Pussy, Pooh couldn't see. Remember, the first thing he established is that Pooh was a blind man.
Correct.
And it's after he went to the charismatic conference, he get a sort of, healing. So he started to really see. So Pooh started to really see things that he never saw before. So now Pooh can see the government, he can see the parliament, he can see, everything that he wasn't seeing before. And of course, we know the story. And by the way, I'd just like to congratulate Tilly Thomas in New York, and he may be listening, for really helping this guy and bringing him out, managing him, because Across the Bridge Ridge is a young man that really, in a way, started to revolutionize the music. He's an artist.
The bouillon music.
The bouillon music. What he does now is he's a solo player, almost like a band. He's a one-man band. He's doing something that is actually revolutionizing the musical approach. What he does is he plays and he uses songs and he applies to all seasons. During the Christmas, he would create a sort of real bouillon song, then the carnival came out. So the effort, I find, is good. I couldn't comment more than what Duncan or anything has said about it already.
Edgar Pooh, see?
Okay, all right. The first thing is that you need to understand young people language for you to understand that song. I think, because we have, and that's why I want to big him up for that. If you listen, it's not just Pooh, see, it's Pooh, see, in.
Yeah.
That is what you have to follow. Now, when young people think you soft, all right, they call you a Pooh.
They call you a pussy.
Yeah, a pussy.
Yeah.
You understand? So if you listen to say, pussy in government.
Yes.
Pussy in parliament.
So you're soft, you're soft
I
in
got
government.
That part of it.
So you understand?
So you're saying that you're soft in
so
government.
it's not sexual, because I know when I heard, when I look, because I got the list via WhatsApp as to how they sing, I think, but what stupid song Rich Gunn sing there? Because normally he sings a lot of explicit lyrics.
Yeah.
Very sexual.
Yep.
A lot of his lyrics is very sexual. So
straight up as well.
I think very straight, yeah. I was saying, what is he going to sing? But when I listen, I say, oh, that's what he's doing. So I'll big it up as in terms of the writing. I think as Duncan said, it could be maybe written a little better. But I don't think another writer could write it that way, you know, because
No. That's his style.
Yeah,
This is his work.
and you have to understand his connection. A lot of the young
That's right.
people can connect to his message, and that's what Calypso have to do. It have to connect to the society, you know, and take slangs from the society and bring it into the Calypso, and that's what he does. He take a slang, basically, from the society and play on it.
So then, I don't want to cut you though, but what maybe we might have to suggest, we might have to go to Webster and give an additional interpretation of pussy.
Yeah, well, no
In the
problem.
sense that,
Yeah.
and say pussy from a Caribbean perspective or a Dominican perspective means soft.
well, that's how young people, you have to understand the young perception. So that's what. So he, as a young person, he's speaking, and a lot of the young people, if you speak to them, they understand exactly what he's doing, and I think he's I mean, I when I heard it, I say, wow, but that's creative, and I like the attempt. Again, I have an issue with the arrangement, so I hope when you're recording it, they can fix it and give it more vibes, you know. But and as Marcus was saying, he's a young artist who maybe just came on the scene about 3 or 4 years ago, and he's making waves in Dominica in terms of the booyah music, and I want to congratulate him for attempting to come in the Calypso, and a very good effort.
And let's try another new Calypsonian this year. Let's listen to this one.
I tell you. Woo! They say woman is the biggest gossip monger. And I can prove that myth to be very wrong. Oh, I tell them that is propaganda. And I can prove that myth to be very wrong. Oh, just pass by any barber shop downtown. The place full of fellas running their mouths as if engaging constructive conversation. You would be surprised what them talking about. Peter, if you want the name of the minister that will be demoted, I tell you, I bet you want to know who waiting patiently to be promoted. Hey, I'm sure you want the pep who want to manage DBS Radio. Hey, I'm sure you want to know who used to say the PM must go. Hey, M already know the Ras tell her so. So if you want to know the best, the barber shop you must go.
No, guys, in reference to this one, talking about the beef, talking about, you know, going to a particular place to get the hot beef or the hot talk. What do you all make of this one?
Well, I would just like to comment generally on the singer. What's her name? Who's that?
Her name is Luscious.
Luscious.
Luscious, yes.
I don't know, but just by listening to her, I realize she has a lot of work to do in terms of her singing. Obviously, she's not sticking exactly to the key. And I earlier mentioned about Shadow and Jesva Jacob. And irrespective of the way in which they sung, they were always in key.
Sure.
They were always singing, you know, in key, even though their voice song unusual, but they never left the key of the song and maintaining a key. Of course, the lines, the way the lines is constructed, the way she sings, I think she has a lot of work to do. I don't know if she made it. So obviously, looking at it,
she is in the 17th.
She's in the 17th,
yes.
So she's like on standby, maybe.
I think
after the 15th.
After the 15th,
so if somebody
yes.
pull out.
Yeah.
So I mean, in looking at it, she has a lot of work to do with her singing, understanding, keeping key, and I haven't heard the whole song, so I cannot say, okay, you go to the barber shop, you get all kind of news. Okay, so what? At the end of the day, what is it gonna happen? I don't know. I cannot comment on that. But generally, about her singing, her style, I think honestly, she has a lot of work to do.
Now, let me ask you, Edgar, in reference, as you heard Walker's bit mention of her vocal cords, do you think, Edgar, that the song, in terms of the lyrical contents, it is compatible to her lyrics?
You are repeat the question.
I'm just trying to find out
asking whether or not you think that the lyrics that she has are compatible to the music that accompanies those lyrics.
Oh, I think so. What I think is the issue, though, for me, and I mean, and to congratulate Bassi again, I think he wrote this one for the kind of work he has been doing with the lesser artists. What I think is the issue, this song is about the barbershop where the beef hot. And what I've listened in the two verses so far, I haven't really get the beef hot. I'd like to hear one or two really beefy lines, that happen in the barbershop. I'd like to see that coming through in the song. And I mean, I recognize she was very nervous on Saturday, and that may be the reason why she got excited, and that may be the reason why she didn't hit the key as she should. But I think I like the theme of the song, I like the idea that to come with something different out of the box, not the usual run-of-the-mill topics, But I think she was a little nervous. But I think I would like to see more Beth, more rural things to make me marvel, that would men discuss that in a barbershop, But I mean, most of the things, politics is a thing men will discuss. You understand what I'm saying? But if men in people business really. People private business, then you will say it's Beth. But based on to me what she is really saying, it haven't really. So I would like to speak to the writer. I wish the writer could, try to give her for the next round some more Bethy kind of a line, one or two every verse, to catch the audience attention.
Duncan.
Yeah, I would not agree with most of what Edgar said. Well, in terms of the theme. It's not a new theme. It has been around, but I mean, the way it's structured, I would want to agree. It makes it sound like a fresh sort of something. But I listened to that song, and I always look out again for my poetry, because the music is structured in terms of arrangement. The music is metered. And your words, your lyrics need to be metered to be compatible with the music, regardless of what you're saying. And that is what makes it poetic. And that is where the poetry aspect of it comes into the creation of the piece, of the entire piece. And that is the type of to my mind, that topic is the type of topic that calls for a lot of wit, calls for you to create imagery as much as you can and create feelings, have people chuckling. I think you can bring in even some paradox in it, well, but wait a minute now, man. Well, man gossiping, woman like to gossip more. That type of banter. You could have a little bit of that. But again, the song is just two verses we heard. We do not know what the writer has in store. You never know. He might restructure it a little more, or there might be much more coming out in it. More Beth, as Edgar said. And it's very difficult for us to really assess. That's why I was very measured to an extent in terms of some of the commentary that I made, because it's just two verses, and we to really assess and judge the piece, the production, you'd really have to maybe see the entire thing, or we need to hear maybe the entire Calypso. So the quarterfinals, the quarter or semis?
It was the semifinals.
The semifinals, I guess. When you hear it, those that have gone through, I guess you'll be in a better position to make a fair assessment and judgment.
You speak about paradox. I'm going to play something from Lulu. Lulu. His song is called My Pal Rep. I want to find out My Pal Rep. I want to find out in this song, do you find any paradox in it? Listen to this one.
Lulu.
I used to want to be a pal rep, but that was back in the days when pal reps stood for respect and service to communities. But nowadays, it's like a dirty phrase when a supporter says, this is my pal rep. My pal rep, my pal rep. He is afraid of his leader. My pal rep, my pal rep. We does lie down together. And when comes to lying, not even the Prime Minister can ever lie better than my pal rep. Ooh.
Yes, guys, let's talk about this one. Paradox, any in it, in this one, Duncan? Walker's, Edgar?
Well,
I see it as a
paradox really is a contradictory statement. And to an extent. And I'm trying to find...
the line that says, I sleep, we does lie down together.
I suspect he was trying to establish the fact that his pal rep lies, but he used the term lying down to bring it out. Maybe trying to, if you want, disguise or if you want, mask in a sort of way. If I would use that, can maybe help me.
But Cecil is right, though. It's paradoxical,
Yeah.
But
It is. That is.
You're all lying down together, but.
Well, that particular line, yes.
It is right, but that is just a passing line.
But I was thinking of the entire production in terms of whether or not you can label the theme or the treatment of the theme as a paradox. That's what I was really looking for, Cecil.
Right.
But if it's a passing line, well, I guess a paradoxical line, you would say.
Yep.
And there's much more I'm sure that you can find if you really go through the song,
Paradoxical line.
But we have another one, and I'm sure it's going to intrigue the mind of Duncan. Let's listen to this one. This one is from The Healer, and the Healer is actually...
I did not hear that one.
But Cecil, let me just, before you play the next song, it is important for the public and for us to know who wrote the song.
Yes.
I think you should mention who wrote the song and probably who arranged the song.
I think that's
it's important for the artist, for the person that did the music, and for the listeners.
And I think what has to happen now from the Calypso Association point of view now, it's important when the MC brings in the person on stage that they should now tell us who is the composer of the song, who is the writer of the song.
Yep.
We need to know these things. Because I know a number of people have been asking for this,
But it's credit to them.
Yes, credit to them. Yes, It's not only the front man who is the Calypsonian.
That's right.
This one is called Cast No Stone. Let's listen to this one from The Healer.
Na 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 na. Whoa. Listen. I got the most detention in school, 'cause teachers try to make me a fool, telling me dish run away with spoon, and how it jump over God moon. I see it happen also in politics and Calypso, but I don't make the mistake to swallow what is fake. To win is an obsession, for a crown or an election. Man engaging of deception. In the game of politics, fellas will never admit all the wrongs they commit. In Calypso I see artists have no integrity, playing judge and jury.
Any man can win election victory. Any man can win Calypso monarchy. Any man can be king and sit on a throne. But any man who has sinned should cast no stone. No stone.
Yes, guys, another big one. This one, great voice, lyrically strong. What you make of this one, Duncan, Edgar, and Wackers? Play the second verse? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm not
I'll
really
follow
there.
the development.
I
Yeah.
was trying to follow it, yes.
Okay,
yes, yes,
let's just hold on a while. Let me just get the second verse and make sure that I can get it for you. All right, let's see that.
Much distinguished judges.
I'm sorry.
In the game of politics, fellas will never admit all the wrongs they commit. In Calypso, I see artists have no integrity. They play in judge and jury. Any man can win election victory. Any man can win the Calypso monarchy. Any man can be king and will sit on a throne. But any man who has sinned should cast no stone. No stone. Dee-da-da-da-da-da. Oh.
That's what it is.
The Healer.
Yes,
I say welcome
that's
to
the
my
Healer
friend and
singing this
comrade.
one. The line says, any man who has sin should cast no stone. Any man who has no sin, sorry. Any man who has no sin.
No, well, that one say any man who has sinned should cast no stone.
Oh, okay. Well,
The normal phrase is any man who has no sin cast the first stone.
Yeah.
But in this case,
Oh.
he says any man who has sin
Should cast no
should
stone.
cast no stone.
So you just play around with it.
Playing
nicely.
around with it, yeah.
The man who has sinned should, because usually it's an analogy. So usually it's, well, biblical analogy that we all are acquainted with, you know, he used without sin cast the first stone. And he's spinning it around there, basically telling all of us that we are all sinners.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That is. So it's a deep. It's the really deep thought and deep thinking, and is the much thought went into the writing of that one.
Who wrote that song?
And
This one was using my Pelham John
John
Baptist.
Baptist.
and you have. I will always say that we have to give credit to a writer when he takes time and does not write the thing as we are accustomed of hearing it. And this is where I think the poetic aspect of a writer comes in, and the poetic aspect of the Calypso fits in. And this is what separates, I think, prose from poetry. True. You know, when we are comparing, and you say, but wait a minute now, man, you tell me that's a Calypso, but I hear in prose. And I say, wait a minute now. Cecil, I really wish you could get that song of Spider.
Yeah, I was just.
I want that song of Spider.
Yeah.
If we can get that
I
song
need
of
the
Spider.
I need the name.
Going down slowly.
Going down slowly, I think is the
Okay.
name of Spider.
Look how we come, I think that's the name.
Or look at how we
Look how
come.
we
Either
come,
look
okay.
at how we come or going down slowly.
Look at how we come here.
Because Spider, the great mighty Spider from Dominica, the legendary of blessed memory, he was one of the best in terms of being able to bring it out in poetry and use the rhyme. Sometimes, and the reason I want that song, Cecil, Spider was in that song. I think a few lines, almost every verse, he was able to rhyme in and rhyme out And this is classic poetry.
Yes, Edgar?
Yes, well, on the healer, as Duncan say, the writer took me on a journey. When the song started that I got many detentions in school. And then he gave you the reason because the teacher took him for, yes, go ahead.
Pause. The writer took you on a journey.
On a journey, and I love that.
And that is what we talk about when this is what narrative is.
Right. That's what we talk about, the narration. Yeah.
We always use the word narrative, but Cecil, this is a good example of
a good narrative. A good narrative. Yeah.
That is why probably we cannot come up with a proper, maybe total assessment of the song because we haven't heard the whole song. We are here in 2 verses, and obviously, you know, every song, every composition, every narrative have a middle, beginning, and end.
But if fairness to us, we're not analyzing it. We're just taking what we have heard so far.
Right. I'm saying we cannot make maybe a total assessment.
Right.
Well, we can't make a total assessment, but on what we hear so far,
it can lead us somewhere.
We can see, you know, that because what I tell you, he took me on a journey, and I heard it on Saturday night. And I was like, wow.
Well, what to me we're doing now actually
but I wanted
is
to
helping.
Yeah. And I wanted to say one thing to Duncan. There is underlying in the story itself, there's something else. So he said he'd have an underlying story he want to bring. He want to say something. And I'm happy he didn't say it.
Well, let us hope that when we hear the 2 other verses or we hear the song in completeness, that the story would have been told.
Right. But you want to say something, and you have to think.
Well,
in comparing the Calypsonian and the politician.
This is good. I mean, a different treatment of the whole cast the first stone. Cast the first stone, biblical.
You have no sin. Cast the first stone.
Yeah.
Let's hear something from The Explosion. Left the stage and now back again, singing Liar Breach.
Now all who want to run Dominica must improve the road infrastructure from east to west and north of the country. Liar Bridge is the gateway to the city. So all who think that being in charge was so nice, realize it taking dedication and sacrifice. Never thought that it would turn out so. It would have a time they will want to go. But I can feel it all around me. Something's happening in my country. With all the prayers that mommy sent up there, I thought by now a dead burden would be killer. Now we have seen the ascension of Henderson. Is he the chosen one? But when sheriffs say that he live in town, I say, Liar Bridge is falling down. Hey! Hey! Lindy Lang Dan Dan Day. Hey! Hey! Till and Day. Now to help maintain a strong economy, we build what next throughout the country, but fail to rescue the private sector and train the middle class to help the poor. But when the local hotel sector saw its demise, I stopped believing that we were living in paradise. Not even in my dreams did I foresee that we would lose Ross University. But I can feel it all around me. Something's happening in my country. With all them Prezi warriors sent up there, I thought by now that dead burden would have cleared. But we have seen the ascension of Henderson, is he the chosen one? But when sheriff say that he live in town, I say, Lion Bridge is falling down. Hey! Lani ay, tende, mama yo. Hey! Bing the land, dan, day, Lani ay. Land Day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Daryl, we just heard the explosion. Another one, Lion Bridge.
Yes, guys, I'm sorry about that again. You said that you wanted to hear the spider, but before we get the spider, which is Look How We Come, I want to get from you all, what do you all make of this one, Lion Bridge?
You want me to go first, Cecil?
Yes, you can.
Yes, lyrically, I think it's a very well-written song. I try to follow what the writer was doing. It's a political song, but not the typical run-of-the-mill political song. And he's speaking to certain things. For example, I think what I'm picking up in it is that, I think that the Prime Minister may be planning to resign or give up the leadership. That's what I picked up. He's trying to say as the writer. And he's saying after that, Lion Bridge, whatever it is, he said Lion Bridge will fall down. So I find the way he deals with all the different political issues, in his way, and all the imagery, that some prayer warriors send up prayers in the air. So he fought by now, the economy would be good, or he send up so much prayers in the air. I really like his approach to it. I don't know, the melody to me is typical, but the lyrics, the approach to writing is different, and I like the work he did.
Let's see what Duncan has to say.
Oh, it's interesting work. I love the music to it. It's old school, old style. The tune of the tonal quality of the horns, and so it's the type of thing that you would have gotten with guys like Cypher and those fellas there back in the time, right, Walkers?
Yep.
And I like that about it. So it has an old school touch. In terms of the lyrics, though, it's very interesting the way he has crafted it, trying to mask a lot of what he's doing and using a lot of imagery, telling you that the Lion Bridge is falling down, but he's not really singing about the Lion Bridge. He's using of course you could maybe go back to the London Bridge,
right.
With London Bridge, which has so many stories behind it,
right.
And he's now telling you, using Lion Bridge is falling down, and telling you now to find your meaning and find your way within the song.
Right.
When I say Lion Bridge is falling down, it would be very interesting to hear the rest of the song as to the number of other verses. I don't know whether it's the third and the fourth and the fifth verse, to see the complete what journey he takes us on, and how he concludes, how he breaks it in the middle, and how he concludes. I would really love to hear it in terms of a complete package.
Well, I heard the complete package today. It was sent to me, so
I was able to utilize it. But that is why you were able to say a few things. But I have not heard the entire song, so I will rest at this.
What I would say is, it seems obvious that he's trying to associate Lion Bridge falling to maybe the area in which, because you mentioned Vince, as in the here, what I mean?
Nice.
And Vince is from that area, Lion area. He represented that area, and I guess he's trying to say something about using the Lion Bridge falling down, like Duncan said, London Bridge concept, and trying to associate that with the pal rep of that area.
And what I like about that Calypsonian, though, Cecil, is he always tries to be different. He's hard hitting politically, but in a nice, it's smooth. Even
in
maybe
a classic way.
Yeah, even maybe the people he criticizes will not have a problem with the way the message is brought about. I like that about him, but he's hard hitting underneath.
Let's hear the one from Spiders. We are asking for it. Let's hear this one.
And we have to listen to that one properly, Cecil. I love it.
I love Shiloh.
conflict, jealousy, and division. We don't have a sound economy, only hardship, stress, and misery. Those interests no come from no banana. Rosy gone and left us to suffer. I tell you, the Christmas season, 60 apples that were sold in town. Day by day, Lord, we keep going down. Poorer, that is how we come. All your bananas gone, your cocoa and the ground. Still waiting for the vision to come. And to make matters worse, look the apparatus. Put a 5% sales tax on us. So we keep going down on the road to Sodom. And the whole country keeps going down slowly. Just look at NDC. Banana industry. Keeps going down slowly. I see little children dressed in red, crying and waving flag for the dead. I knew this would bring a curse on us. From the convent things kept getting worse. Remember the Holy Bible said, Yahweh takes no pleasure in the dead. If you think I like just go tomorrow and not believe Thomas your PRO, he'll tell you that abomination. Now be Sodom, that is how we come. Day by day, Lord, we keep going down. By affection, that is how we come. Go we mourn and we mourn, under rain, under sun. Yet it's poorer and poorer we come. And unless we come out from this damn ignorance, our children just don't stand a chance. For we keep going down on the road to Sodom, and the whole country keeps going down slowly. We going down slowly. In immorality, we going down slowly. Ambrose, you letting the Arab boy take you and play with you like a toy. You must listen to the people's call. Been asking for the sea defense wall. Myself don't want silver, land or gold, for my kingdom is not of this world. All I want is just the people and back to build a nice recreational park. I tell you, we keep going down. For your motor, that is how we come. Son of David, have mercy on us. We don't forget, that is our cause. Who have well have my dear, who have will suffer. 20 them already night is true. I'm leaving the rest up to you. I hope you are not too blind to see the collision have you Bazudi. Is the Eugenia, Lauren and Tony have us all in this damn tragedy? I tell you, we keep going down. Coney Island, that is how we come. Day by day, Lord, we keep going down. Just like Babel, that is how we come. I said so in my song, and it's all over tongue. That pair of foreign police is wrong. Should I go? Should I come? Should I stay? Should I run? Or when Mama God have become? But we keep going down into terrorism, and the poor people keep going down slowly. Slowly, slowly. We going down slowly. Going down slowly. Without
Guys, this one, great arrangement. I listened to the backup singers, smooth, soft, pitiful, and singing the part slowly, slowly, very pitiful. But I'm still hearing some element of Sparrow, guys.
Well, Spider was in a class of his own, and Spider comes out of the Sparrow era. These guys, they were musicians, and Spider, Sparky, Lucky, they were a group of those guys. Well, Breaker, Solo, NC,
Tokyo,
you name it, the Saint.
Yep.
Senior, those guys were and those guys.
Don't forget to mention Caterer.
The Caterer, how can you leave out the Caterer? You cannot leave out the Caterer.
And what is his name, Morocco?
Yeah, but the point I wanted to make, most important though, Cecil, is that song. It had bongs. It had a lot of, well, from the poetry standpoint, there was a lot of rhythm, rhyme, metaphoric language, wit, bongs into you as a, Coney Island, that is how we come. One line.
Koyo Mouton.
Yes. That is how we come. And he's hitting it to you, and with class. Poetic language, and is unfortunately Edgar was saying.
I don't think he had past eliminations. He had eliminations on the Bayfront.
At the Bayfront that year, I remember.
And he didn't make eliminations with that song.
No, it was not that song that he sang at the elimination.
Yes, that's the song he sang, and he was booed.
I remember that is the song that he sang. That was the
song he sang.
Is that the first year at the Bayfront?
That was the song he sang. I was there.
Is that the first song?
I was not the show side.
Yeah, and he didn't make it.
I'm trying to remember, because I remember that year at the Bayfront that he sang that song about the mayor and the dogs. If I remember that very clearly.
Okay.
I remember. I want to find out if that's the first year.
Okay.
You may
be right. But he didn't make finals with that song.
I would be taken aback if he didn't make finals.
No, he did not make finals with this one.
That song.
But if you want a song you can use as a test piece of Calypso, and you can use to really understand and maybe describe and analyze Calypso, here is one. And that song, first of all, I'd like to know who really played the music on that, who arranged that song, because I hear the music in that song and I'm very marveled. Even that song was made in maybe about 2003, Duncan?
Somewhere around there.
Yes.
Somewhere around there. So that
03, 04, 05.
Not 203, because just period time.
But the point is,
it was in terms of the collision.
But let's say that song
it was made in 2002, 2003.
That song
2001.
02, somewhere around there.
The point is that song is more than 20 years old, and so it's fresh.
Yes, it's 20 years.
If you play that song today, it sounds as fresh, as new as yesterday. And that's the thing I found about the song. And before we came in there, we were talking about that song, and I'm saying, but here is a song that has everything going for it. The lyrics, the melody, the arrangement, the use of words, the hitting, everything going for that song. And it's right here locally. So sometimes I'm not sure what it is about those Calypsonians and what we have now. Well, not in every area, but not in everybody, but sometimes you keep wondering, is it that they did more work? Is it they sit down and maybe go over the songs better? And that song was written by Spider, right, Duncan?
I am not sure, but Spider wrote
Most of his
songs.
Right.
And I would not be surprised if it was written by Spider. But you see, those guys had a love and understanding for the art form. And I think that was the crux. And of course, they had the ability, you know, through their observations, they knew how to work the lyrics in order to get the message across and to keep within the realm of the art that is poetry and fused with music, bringing out a message, creating a particular mood.
That's right.
Yeah, but we also have to understand and to be fair that we have a different society than in because in those days the Calypso was like they used to call it the poor man's newspaper. So I used to wait for Kaiso to bring out a lot of information, you know, and to say a lot of things. But unlike now, I mean, you have a lot of talk shows, a lot of information out there already, and our society like it raw and direct. But I think for that, I know Roy Shillingford used to be his arranger. I don't know if he's Roy Shillingford that arranged, but his main arranger was Roy Shillingford there at Lapo. So I don't know if it's Roy that arranged that. So but possibly. I know he used to be Spider-Man arranger.
It's possibly.
Yeah.
Are we opening the line, Cecil? Maybe somebody
Yes,
could call in and say that.
We will. We will.
Yeah.
I also want to take something from one of our Calypso, and still sings Calypso today. That is the Hunter singing Cry of the Paro. Let's just listen to this one.
Father, give me strength. Mother, sing this song now. Cry not from tears, terrible pains or broken memories, only from knowing that I just can't bear to face tomorrow. My tears are all poison, with a lot of painful memories. Painful memories, times of money, popularity, women and luxury. Friends, relatives, parasites, companions were so many. Your relatives, they came from all around the country, asking to silence the pull strings for opportunities. Life was good and to be, and we all had fun. Nothing was too small to shun, not too strange to scorn. But it was one terrible move, one wrong decision, and loneliness raped me naked without no compassion. No. Nobody knows my name. Oh, no. For me, life is not the same. Remembered when I was really me, I used to help everybody open-heartedly. Now I am done and almost out. Local friends I can find now are all about. Right now I'm in desperate need, or really good deed. No matter how much I beg and plead, nobody wants to help me get out of my misery. Father, give me strength. This song now. Now my credibility is running short and bills are a lot. My woman have left my children and everything I got. Begging and borrowing, I keep on digging my empty pockets. When I'm around, anything valuable you rush to look at. Yes, I permanently can't stay off this crack and cocaine. Many a times I try to get back on my feet, but before I begin, society concedes my defeat. Don't you remember the way I used to be before? Want to be like that again, I know I'm sure. I know I can, I am sure. Can't take more of this suicidal disease, not anymore. Oh, no, 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 no. Nobody knows my name. Oh, no, 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 no. For me, life is not the same. Remember when I was really me, I used to help.
Well, guys, this one from the pen of Bernard Frampton. This one is done by the man Hunter. And I really decided to play this one just as a means of social commentary. Talk to me.
Well, I just want to big up my friend Dr. Bernard Frampton for writing this beautiful one. Remember earlier I spoke about the vessel, you know, and when you pour the wine, and when good wine must be in good vessel. And that was a really good song, and it had a lot of mood. It's a song that was a very emotional song. Yet nobody could the cry of the Pharaoh, right? And Hunter really brought it out with that nice melodious voice. He was able to create the mood. Basically, I remember at that finals, some people literally cried when Hunter finished with that song. So I remember when we speak about the vessel, that when somebody write, you have to know who can deliver the material, who have the kind of voice that can deliver the material. And that is an example, a very good example of Hunter being given a very good song by Bernard Frampton, but maybe somebody else had done it. It would have come out as powerful as this one, you know. So
you can hear the lamentation in this one.
Yes, the lamentation.
You know, it's very, very powerful, you know, and really and truly that night people have cried.
Yeah.
Just hearing, Mother, you know. Tell me, Wackers.
Well, I agree. Hunter is one of these Calypsonian in the modern...
I'm sorry, Wackers, I'm sorry about that. I just want to inform the callers that you can call now. The numbers to call is 1-800-327, 1-800-327. The other number you can call is 448-3284, 448-3284. If you are in Dominica, you can call 448-3284. If you're out of state, you can call 1-767-448-3284. Yes, Wackers.
Well, I was saying that Hunter is one of our best. We know that in terms of marketability, voice, and he has proven it many times. Represented us in competitions overseas. At one time, we know that he was the #1 wine in Calypso in terms of stage appearance. He has a good appeal. He has a great voice. And we know that he has one of the best Calypsos ever from Dominica in the terms of One Flag that was written by Patrick John. Here is a Calypso too, I see, that has everything working for it. And when a guy comes and sing a Calypso with everything working for him on a night like that, music is in right there. And, you know, he's right up there. He has to be a competitor. And he's right up there. You cannot beat him.
Let's hear Duncan.
Well, I think most of what it needed to be said about the Hunter has been said by both Edgar and Wackers. I definitely would agree.
Just hold your thought, Duncan. I'm sorry about that. We have a call on the line. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening.
Could you lower down the volume of your radio, please? There's a serious feedback. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking.
Yes, Speaky.
I've been listening to you all for couple times. Yeah. And most of the week, for the month, I listen to the radio, I listen to Calypso, and I don't hear anything about Picky at all. But let me tell you, all you talk about Spider, who composed the Spider, me I can tell all you. All you know about that. And all you talking about people that can sing, have melody and figure. Why all doesn't play my song? Play Proverb, play Paradise, play Dear Dragon, play World Cup, play beauty, play proper teaching, and you'll hear melody and Kaiso. So when are you talking about Kaiso, you're talking about all kinds of people. I don't talk about Picky at all. I don't know if all you have me in a way that to press me, but all you cannot do that at all. Because all you're very biased and all you don't know about Calypso and Calypsonian thing. When I went to America, I was established in America. I sang 6 songs. I sing 1. Trinidad sing 1. NC sing 1. Who the Trinidad Kaiso asked to come and sing with them in the tent? Picky. I sang White Black. I'm the beggar. When I finish singing White Black, I go backstage. Shadow tell me, Picky, you're professional. I make $700 at the backstage of the Trinidad. Each of them give me $100. All you just talk all about Kaiso, but all doesn't know Calypso like who in Calypso. All doesn't mention Picky at all. So the amount of blows I give Hunter in competition already. I'm 7 times independent king. I'm King Extravaganza. I'm the first king clown. They rob how much carnival crowns of mine. Put me first run up, second run up. I sing in since from 1968. I sing in. From 1968. And Kaiso is my bag. Nobody I'm going to tell me I sing in off of key. Nobody have voice like me. I have to blow my own whistle. There's no one the Kaisonian in this country that can sing Kaiso like me. I have voice like me.
Thank you, man, Picky.
Oh, you know that.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Go in peace and serve the Lord.
Yeah, you too.
I think I want to go on record as endorsing that Picky in some of the comments that he has made. I think, to my mind, Picky is one of the greats that has walked and performed on this stage, walked this land and performed on the stages in Dominica. He indicated that he has traveled far and wide. And Picky, I don't think it's any deliberate attempt to bring you down, or I don't think there's any conspiracy against you. Well, we were going down into, the history there of some of the Calypso, some of the greats, and certainly when the roll is called up yonder, you, I believe, would definitely have to be numbered as one of the greats, the greatest Calypsonians in Dominica.
Let's go to the telephone.
We recognize you for that.
Let's go to the telephone. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you, caller. Caller held on for a while.
And also, Cecil, I really want to concur with Duncan on his statement that while I do not agree with everything Picky said, but I think he really deserves that kind of honor for the contribution he has made over 50-something years in Calypso. He started in 1960, so he's about 53, going on 54 years this year in Calypso. And he has always been right up there, very close to the crown. And as he said, he won the most independence crown. And I really want to congratulate him for his work. And it was just an oversight, Picky. We were just mentioning some names and the intention. Because, NC can say we have other Calypsonians, Natty. Other Calypsonian, I felt that did a good job in the Calypso business.
We have another caller on the line. Let's go to the caller. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Enjoying you guys and the show so far. Edgar Hunter, my brother from another mother.
My friend Oliver, how are you?
Well, not too bad at all, man.
Happy to hear you. Happy New Year.
Well, same to you guys, same to you guys, man. Yeah, I hope everything will go nice for you guys in that new year. I wanted to comment on the Explosion song. One of the things that I admire most about the Calypso is when different people can listen to it and come up with different interpretation. I think when that happens, the Calypso has done its job. I heard Walker say London, the bridge, the Layu Bridge falling down can mean that Vince came from Layu and so on. And then I heard a different interpretation from another one of you guys. And when I listened to this song, I felt it was a well-written song that has, anybody can give it the meaning that they have, that they want. The meaning I give that song is that the writer is basically saying, when the sheriff left town and the new guy come at him, I think is a song that basically creating the whole vibe, that the whole system will fall, and the bridge to me represents the whole government system and probably even the economy. So, you have many different ways you can look at it. But I think it's a well-written song, and it says what it wants to say, but it's all left to the person listening to it to interpret it the way they want. So I feel like that song has done what it wants to do. I wanted to talk about the mass camp of the first mass camp I heard. I felt like a good job was done. I wanted to call Talking Point to congratulate the master of ceremony. I think it was a very, very good job done by the Dice himself in accompanying the Calypsonian. It was very good. And basically I just called to support you guys in what you guys are doing. The Spider song, Spider was always a classic. Spider was always a classic, a good friend of mine though. But he's a guy that we just have to respect. He was one of our best. And yes, good night, guys.
Thank you very much.
I listen in and enjoying the show still.
Thank you very much.
Young life singing Calypso, never get no wrong. But every time I sing a song, never last too long. Depressing me down. No social security, no pension, nothing. So I tie up my leg and I got to beg to make a living. So when you see me in the tongue, drop a penny on the ground. I follow this plenty bread to make me drop down dead. Whether it's woman or man, anything you can. Beggars are no choosers. I man, I'm a born loser. Take more licks, no. I can't lay no bricks, so I got to try some tricks for survival, just for survival. So when you see me in the town, drop a penny on the ground. Whether it's woman or man, anything you can. Give me something, anything is something. Beggars are no choosers. I man, I'm a born loser. Give me something, anything is something. Just give me something to satisfy my soul. Pack she clothes, she ready to move. She got to move. All me children's school clothes, this patch is for so. I can't take no more. I can't sell more split. No. Police security to slip. So when I knock your door, give me bigger. When you see me in the dark, drop a penny on the ground, give me something, anything is something.
this one is called Beggar. And guys, I know that one was a big one in the days gone by when Picky sang this one. Up to this present day, we know that's a big one.
But Cecil, seeing that Picky called, maybe some of the ladies out there just might be listening, and I don't know if anyone can help me with the roll call. We have to recognize people like Singing Sandy, who came and made a mark, and people like the Yakima, and people like Tarina, and there are many other ladies.
Lady A. Don't miss out Lady A.
No, exactly. Go on.
And Jockey. Lady Jockey.
Lady Jockey.
Yes, you don't miss out the people that started.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know, Cecil, I don't know if you want to call one or two, but persons
Jali.
just might Jali. Exactly. Persons might be listening and saying,
Janice.
"Boy, when you all even call us."
Yeah.
Yep.
Singing. Well, going back to the early days of people like Singing Janice.
Singing Janice, yes.
And what was the Brown Sugar?
Brown Sugar, yes.
And
you have this one married today. I trying to remember her name.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower. I find this mystic rose sing a lot like her.
Yes.
Yes, Cauliflower.
And Jali.
Yeah, well, I mentioned Jali already. Yeah.
Let's hear this one.
It's a big problem to see. We've got to find solutions to this mystery. These unwanted children, what's gonna happen to them? To feed it to close responsibility. Marisa Mia Budel. Marisa Mia Budel. I who is the father. Young children going to school, they just have to listen for as much as 5 months of mud inside your belly. And when the news break up, parents are surprised to study. Cannot control their actions, some react irresponsibly. So I call on the parents and the rest of the family. Don't show your child out, let she know about. And I've got some society, she be treated with no mercy by the irresponsible men running this country. Marisa Diabudel. Marisa Diabudel. Who is the father? Some exploiter. How do they walk? How do you want to? Crowding to right. Into upside.
Guys, this is a true song, you know, in the early days. That one came out way back, I think, in 1982. Real true song that if you were going to school as a young girl, you got pregnant, your mother would say that that's en tour, your father would want to put you out, and you had this whole stigma about you getting pregnant at school. A big one in 1982. Duncan.
Yes, Cecil. Someone just sent me a note saying that, you know, maybe you guys need to do a show recognizing the greats of DA's Calypso. So maybe that's something that you might want to consider, Cecil. Also, for the records, the show, the final show, was always referred to as the King Show. And when Singing Sandy came in and she was making the finals every year, they changed it to a Monarch or the Monarchy.
And Cecil, Eklin Jerome Jules on Facebook said that also big up Singing Vicky. I think she has a
yes,
a
Vicky,
very important Calypso.
Vicky
and while at it, I want to big up Lorna James and Snapper Laura and Paula Emmanuel, my friend Paula Emmanuel, and who are on Facebook, and you and Mayor Charles. Please, you can send your questions. Zed Lloyd is also watching, and Michael Kazimi. So you can actually send your questions on Facebook, and we will read it and we will respond to it.
But Cecil, I too want to big up Sandy. Sandy is always there listening. She always sends in a comment. I always tell her, like, you can call live, because Sandy has a lot to contribute. I want to big her up on her husband, Brian, in the ATL, and also TD, probably New York, listening. But Cecil, I just want to...
No. I must put in that little side, as you read Sandy's voice again. I actually went back and looked at that show twice when I felt Sandy had won that night. With I think it was the Son of Stan.
Black and Comely.
Black and Comely. And I was more convinced after I looked at it. I was convinced the night that she had won, and I was more convinced when I looked at the show the first time, and was even deeper convinced when I saw it the second time. But Sandy, that's how it is. If you're listening to us, a pleasant good night to you. I also felt that Tarina had won that night, but the judges saw it differently.
Which night?
That's the night when she sang the one about Bishop Gabriel. I think Tim was
the one who penned this song.
Tim was the one who wrote that song. That was one of the greatest ever arranged pieces of music that I ever heard in the Calypso business.
But I'm going to
I just have a little secret that song was my idea.
It was your idea.
Yes,
well, there we have it. Well, we're learning things tonight,
But,
we're learning things.
But just before you move on, Cecil, I just want to, I have always, and honestly, maybe Picky's a little mad at the fact that we didn't, but all sincere apologies to Picky. But I want to say something, because I've also always talked about Picky. Picky is one of those Calypsonians that actually started the revolutionizing of the Calypso. You realize when Picky came, he wasn't singing the conventional style.
Correct.
He had and Franklin Harris want to say good night to him, he must be listening. Refuse used to run with Picky on a pumping bass line.
Yes.
And a lot of Picky songs, he was to me a sort of shadow, revolutionizing Calypso and bringing a new bounce to it. So Picky, just not only for the time he's singing, not only for the way and the manner, the contribution he has made to Calypso, Picky must be respected. And if Picky feels that way, we're really sorry about that.
I think one of those days we should do a show
on Picky.
Just with Picky.
Yes, I will. For sure.
Yeah, with Picky. Yes. You need a show. You need a show for Picky, and I mean maybe with a few live performances.
Picky's listening, Duncan,
yes.
and I like to do these things sometimes. Picky's listening. Next week Tuesday we're going to identify the works of Picky. And we're going to ask Picky to come in.
No, but you have to produce it properly.
Yeah.
Collect all the music together.
I have all the music of Picky.
All your stats, all your records together, and do a proper production session.
I have all the music of Picky.
Great.
But Cecil, I was telling Duncan that if we have about 3 hours here, at least half an hour can be spent looking at the grid.
Yep.
So we have a lot of time there. We have to do the Calypso talk, which is important. Yep. We shouldn't, but we have at least half an hour to an hour where we can highlight not just Picky, but maybe one or two per night.
Someone's on the line. Picky. Next week you'll come to DBS Radio and you'll have to do your part. Okay? So next week Tuesday. All right? So next week Tuesday you'll sing all your Dear Dragon, do all what you have to do. So get yourself ready for next week Tuesday, Picky. All right? Let's take something now from Singing Sandy. One that is called Who Gave Them the Rights.
On their friendly faces. What a culture shock, I thought I was in New York.
Yes, this one from our big female singer, Singing Sandy. I too managed Singing Sandy in the early days after Alex Bruno, so I know she is a great singer for sure, a great performer at that, you know. Guys, we have recognized some of the good folks and
by the way, she's the niece of the caterer, right?
And she's the niece of the caterer, yes.
Yeah, so that's in the blood.
And we are going back now, guys, to some of the songs that we heard during Saturday night's elimination. And one of the songs that I know that many people fell in love with was this one from Mika. This one is called Hostage.
My love, my home, this is my country. I want to believe this, but this slogan belies me. I met this female vagrant on the streets of Roseau. She says, sing, sister, Ru, sing, 'cause only who feels it know. I was once a working woman just like you, paying my taxes and living decent too. But something in my life went wrong, steered me away from my mission. Now I'm a hostage. No support from family, living life in poverty. Hostage. Can never finish paying my loan, my house I will never own. Hostage. Send my child to study, can't meet fees at UB. Hostage. On my back I have to lie, the only way I can survive. Hostage. I forever in quarantine. My life is a never-ending vaccine. To survive, one got to be strong. Don't turn your head at me and frown. I'm just a hostage. Boy, 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 boy. Hostage, hostage. I see my friends come and go, every reunion. I had to duck all of them. Just look at my condition. Everybody dressed up and gone to Creole Fest. But he's hearing this 2x4. I taking my rest. 2 decades ago, when I
Someone who's used to the stage. She's a former first runner-up in the Miss Dominica competition. Former first runner-up in the Miss Mass Jamboree competition. She did the Junior Monarch for a number of years. So she has been in the Calypso world for a while. I agree this song is a well-written song. Ian Jackson, as I tell you, is one of the best writers. But his issue usually is with his vessels. I think this one, she's a good vessel. But I would like to see more use of the vocals, the highs and the lows. Bring out the vocals to bring out this song even better, But I guess, again, first time in the elimination, a little nervous. So let's hope that maybe not a good time to judge her. Let's see what she does in the semifinals.
And I have another one that I'm going to play. This was written, co-written by Michael Henderson and Mary Afanaz. Pascal.
Okay.
Yes, let's listen to this one from Shanice.
Did I die? Da 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 day. You rise with the sunshine, step right up to the same grind. Only thing on your mind is to make sure your children them fine. The man can't stop calling, you up and gone so he ballin'. Won't you give him a chance? Like he forget the things he does do with his hands. Look your sister, pay no mind to this trickster. He trying to put you under duress. With all of the sorrow he now profess. But now you're wiser, you see a future that's brighter. You are finally learning that you deserve better. Sis, be wise, take back control of your life. Heed my advice, take back control of your life. You're done with the fighting, with the shame and the hiding. No more making excuse for the disrespect and abuse. Don't look back for no trouble. Even though it's a struggle, the only way to survive is to stand for your right to be alive. Since he hurts you, who knows what else he will do? Now's the chance for you to be free. Pay no mind to his sub-story. Just look forward. Let karma deal with this coward. It is finally time to take back your own power. Sis, be wise, take back control of your life. Heed my advice, take back control of your life. Thank you.
Well, guys, I don't always like to take credit. I'm doing like how Edgar did it. I remember I saw this young lady last year, it was, at the Cicero Singers show. And I was most taken aback. And when the show was over, I decided that I was going across to her and to have a personal conversation with her, because I think her gesticulation, her stage movement, and her voice was going to bring her far. And so I told her, can you go on the bigger stage, and that is Calypso? And she was scared like hell. She said never, she will not. And I was proud. I am proud to see that I'm able to identify a good product. Duncan.
Well, I saw on the night, and I felt that she was very good in terms of what she presented. Of course, it's a big song, and it's the type of song that you would give to a very seasoned artist. But having said that, I think it was a very good effort on her part in terms of the delivery, because that's not a very easy song to deliver. It's the type of social commentary that you would it's social commentary, but the way it is done, it is often said that, well, one of the hallmarks of not one of the hallmarks, but one of the areas in which Calypso or Calypsonians fall is that you could be a warner, or you could be an advisor, or you could be a counselor, Calypsonians and Calypso. And clearly that song was designed to be for the vessel, as Edgar uses, to be a warner, a counselor, and an advisor of a particular social situation. And to deliver that type of song, it's not easy. I mean, go back to singing Sandra of blessed memory. I mean, Sandra's songs were not easy to deliver. I mean, we saw Sandra on stage. Sandra, I mean, it was just like her natural habitat and a natural home when she's on stage. But Sandra came from way back in terms of coaching and in terms of practice, in terms of experiences, in terms of training. And I think within this young lady, yes, with proper training, she certainly could. And of course, Sandra had the advantage, the God-given talent of having a voice that when she wails on the stage, she commands and she commands your attention.
Edgar?
Okay, I remembered when I was director of student services at college, we had a show called DSC Got Talent. And this is the young lady did a song by Sandra called Voices in the Ghetto.
This is from the ghetto.
And I still cannot understand why she didn't win the competition, because I mean, she can hit these low notes. Because that's so Sandra's strength, eh? In the man's will Calypso, she hit low notes, and this young lady, she hit low notes even as low as some men cannot do, you know. And I heard her do it again. So I think last year at the Cicero, it's not Cicero, it's Cicero, Cicero Singers. Again, I was moved, and then when for matter of fact, I gave her a call and I tell her what I felt. I know it's elimination, and I guess she wasn't taking chances. She just wanted to get through. You know, but I would like that song to slow down a little, because I call that song a sister song, sister to sister conversation. And as Duncan says, she's advising sometimes, she's warning sometimes, you know. So she's playing different role. And so she needs to slow it down a bit and get into the mood and use that vocal quality to create the mood, because she has natural melody in her voice. And I see her, honestly, as a big prospect for Calypso. She's a big win for Calypso. And I hope it's not just for one new thing, but he continues in doing Calypso.
No, Wackers, you have been an arranger. You have really assisted in putting melodies together. Tell us something about what you heard from her.
Well, before Wackers, though, I want to say that the melody, I want to congratulate Michael Henderson and Maria Fanas for a wonderful, it's not just the lyrics, but the melody is a sweet melody.
Well, it's different. Because Wackers comes on, though, one of the things that I like about it is it's different. It has that sort of Bohingson jazzy feeling to it,
nice,
David Rudder style.
Nice.
And I like that about it. And I would want to join you, Edgar, in complimenting and bigging up the commending and bigging up the writers of that one.
Wackers?
I would, first of all, I want to congratulate her, because coming from Cicero Singers, I expect nothing less, because a lot of good, great artists, singers particularly, comes from Cicero Singers. And I'd like to just say good evening to Leandra Lander, who's the actually artistic director. With Pearl Christian.
No. It's Marie Pascal.
Marie Pascal
Afanes.
Marie Pascal.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. But I'm behind time, man. Anyway, I beg to differ with Edgar in terms of slowing it down. I think the rhythm is appropriate. What I would say, I think it couldn't go. Probably you could bring it slow, but why? You don't have to. The other thing is, I would I think the instrumentation in that song, I think they have to review it, I'm sure. And Duncan mentioned it. There is a sort of difference in that Calypso. You could hear it from the word go.
It's done by Cornel Felipe, just for your information.
The artist song different, the lyrics is different, the tempo, there's a jazzy, almost different. And probably Cornel, I know he's probably not listening, but I would advise that more work needs to be done in terms of chord structure, lyric, in terms of use of chords.
I agree.
It demands, you could hear that it demands some nice
sevens.
More instrumentation, augmented. You could hear it. Yeah. So instead of using your major sevens and ninths, and so you could hear it.
Progressions.
And that song has room to be a great song by a good artist. You could hear, and that spells good. That augurs well for the future and the artists coming up in the Calypso. And we will see that. We will see that when young people come, more people, musically minded, talented singers coming through. But I like the song, I like the music, I like the tempo, I like the way it is done. And coming from Mikel, I expect nothing less.
And we have another young man, I think this is his second year, Mighty D, singing this year, We Ballin'. That is something that I am sure that many young people can identify with. Let's listen to this one.
Daddy do I, daddy do I, da day, da day, day. So. At home, listening to the radio, a young man calling in on a talk show, just a first time caller in radio. And in his voice I could hear his frustration. His plight was like many a young man who don't want handout but opportunity to work hard to get a just reward, to provide for self and family. He's so fed up with all this politicking. The situation right now is getting real, and if we do something to help the youth, things go be dread for all that we ballin', please do something for we. Give us a chance to show what we can be. We ballin', bleeding is on the floor. Soon crime and violence will be knocking at your door. And I know your conscience must be hurting for all your neglect and mistakes, but we really don't know how much more we can take. Give me a daddy do I. Whoa, mama. Da day, day. So. On the road, overheard a conversation between two very good-looking young women. Was appalled at the things they were going through, just to make sure they have shelter, clothes, and food. One explained, the other seems to agree. She said, nothing upon this earth is free. With 2 kids and no job, it's not easy. My only asset is right in front of me. And you know, that's not how I was brought up. But things got rough for my whole family. If that's how it is for we young ladies, things really dread in this country.
Guys, coherence in this one. What do you all think about coherence in this one? Hunter.
Cecil, you're going to add on me on the coherence. I don't have a problem really with the coherence. I mean, I want to big up JD for trying to help the other Calypsonians. I think that was a song written by JD and been done by a very young artist. What I can say about him, though, I find from last year, he has improved tremendously. I want him to keep working on the voice because if you want to do well in Calypso, The reason why Dice can do well in Calypso is because he can use the voice and create the mood, and create the emotions. The reason why Tasha P, and all the people that do very well in Calypso, we spoke about Hunter earlier, Spider, Picky, is because they have that vessel they can use. So I want him to work more on the voice. But is my problem is not even about chorus. The melody, I think, I don't even know if I should say it, but it comes across like it's not like as if it's the first melody you get. Really work it. It could get to me. If you could get a little more work being done with the melody, that's the way I feel. And then I would like the young man, as I say, to work a little more on his vocal. There are people who train people to sing, and because he ain't got a bad voice, but he just need to know how to use the voice. So that's what I would like to see on that.
Walkers?
Yeah, I agree. He's the grandson of Picky. His father is in the UK, the son of Picky, and that guy is the grandson. And obviously, there is talent there. Everything that Edgar said, I agree with that. I think he has to work, and it grows because I saw that too. From last year, there you could see there is improvement,
sure.
And you see he's determined, and that is what I like about him. And he looks like he will get there. He needs guidance. He don't only need a writer, but he needs guidance. He needs help in terms of how to really do that composition, handle the song. So there is potential too in that young man, and that's the most I can say about it.
Duncan?
Yeah, I don't agree on the issue of his improvement, for sure. Great improvement, and maybe what can be done, I'm not sure, because he's still sort of although there's a lot of improvement, a lot of movement upwards in terms of his performance and his delivery, I still think he's still in the realm of the junior monarch, sort of junior monarch feel. But having said that, there is great improvement. Maybe what can be done is to maybe experiment with maybe one or two different songs I would give him to sing and see how he handles something different. You never know what could come out of that. But Mighty D, great promise.
And I like that, Duncan, from what you have just said, that somebody can maybe take a few songs and try to bring him together and to make him have a better feel as to what the big man stage is all about. That's a good advice. There's one called Cobos Corporation. Let's listen to this one.
Is everybody all right? I am involved in the reconstruction. My boss is a man on a mission. Through his hard work, he made so much money that he felt the urge to help the needy, caring for the poor, the sick and the elderly, trying very hard to please everybody. Some of you may not agree with me. He wasn't doing too badly. But anytime you have your own success story, bet your life you bound to make enemy. And when the pressure comes wrong the bend, you know you can always count on old friends. So to make sure his business moved on, he called them up one by one and built this institution I call the Cobos Corporation. Give me till and day. Aha! Hear this. Enemy and friend, now the best friend. Friend and enemy, yet they still friend. Eating the same plate is no problem. That's the constitution of the Cobos system. Members have to learn to agree to disagree, and they must display a semblance of unity. No morality, do as you please. No respect and no self-boundaries. But anytime you have your own success story and you mark entire property, it only takes one lesson to comprehend why they say a dog is a man's best friend. No wonder they could not go on with the both undertakers in town and the most senior lawyer around in the Cobos Corporation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
This one, I wonder, Hunter, Walkers, and Duncan, if Shakespeare
Diamond, right?
would have been wrong. That's Black Diamond. If Shakespeare would have been wrong, how would he describe this one?
That's Duncan.
Well, Shakespeare didn't write. Although I didn't study Shakespeare in school, but I know some of Shakespeare's work.
Macbeth.
And I don't think that would be Shakespearean style. He would have certainly used different choices of words, and his whole structure would have been different. But clearly, there is a lot of figurative speech in there, and I have some difficulty with the song in that I was left hanging with the first verse, and the story kind of developed, and a little more in the second verse, and I sort of gotten a sort of better idea as to what was coming, or not really what to expect, but where he was spinning, sort of. And well, we know what Cobos is, or who is a Cobos, and it's left to be seen in terms of the full package when we hear the song in its completeness, to better analyze and assess whether or not, well, yes, there was indeed a story at the end of the day.
And Duncan, Edgar?
Yeah, well, I'm one person who feel that kind of talent Black Diamond has there. Black Diamond should have won the crown already. I mean, this man,
Well,
you heard that articulation and that diction and that melody in that voice.
Yes.
And you know he can present stuff. But I think one of what has been limiting him is the whether he have material. He had 1 year though.
Well, he
Spit
had
toilet
material.
for sure. Yeah, and for whatever reason he ended up bursting, I think, in the semi-finals. That year he'd have won. Clearly, but I think he need material to. I mean, this is okay song. You know, I mean, I trying to follow the development, and as Duncan say, by the first verse, I was wondering where he was going, but by the second verse, I guess he brought me back. But is this a song that can let Black Diamond win the crown? That's what because people like Black Diamond, people like Dice, Tasha P. It has certain people they need.
Crown winning songs.
So I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if that song have that kind of appeal to win Black Diamond the crown, and that's just my concern. It's a good song, you know. Nice little chorus, nice. I see where he's going with it, you know. But I think when Black Diamond step on the stage, and when you look at this guy, tall, he reminds me of Kitchener, you know. Dress is very immaculate, and I mean that kind of a vessel can carry a song. And we say we have to give that vessel songs, you know, and I'm wondering, you know, that is just my concern, whether a song like that will, I'm not talking about making finals or making semi-finals, but I'm speaking about Black Diamond being king. And I'm wondering if a song so can win him a crown. That's my concern.
Well, you have to wait and see. I think the first step is to get through, and then probably he has material to do exactly what you're talking about. That may come later in maybe the semi-finals. But everything you said about him, I love the guy. I like his what you call it, the way he appears on stage, you know, handles. He comes from a talented family. He's the son of Joey Lloyd, who is, what's his name, Eruption. Joey Lloyd. And Jerry Lloyd. He's the nephew of Jerry Lloyd.
And the nephew of Oracle.
Of Oracle.
He comes from a music family.
So it comes naturally. Yeah. You could see that he has a talent. He has a great voice. Very good, appropriate voice for song. He has a good appeal. As you say, tall. Reminds me of Kitchener a lot. Yeah. And he is very talented. Potential is always there. obviously the last couple of years, or let's say the last time he really went through that, thing where he fought part somewhere on a big song and he was left out. But in coming back, and I would agree, and it takes us to another area where we have to experiment. And if we just want to go through the motions and just reach a final as a great singer, a potential great artist, then we're just looking at getting by. If we want to win a crown, then we have to look deeper. We have to explore who writes, how it is, who writes for us. Maybe, and I say that very, I'm very careful how I say that. I don't want anybody to take me to task and say, I just believe that sometimes people have to be willing to try, experiment, risk. Yes. And that's life. You risk, you try different areas. And believe me, if I was just a bouillon player, I wouldn't be satisfied. If I was just playing only reggae or calypso, I wouldn't be satisfied. Sure. If you learn music in its entirety, even from the old classical going down to jazz, blues, it gets you better. Overall, you understand better. You understand how things are developed. And you get a chance to try new areas, try new things. And that is what makes you win. And Edgar is very right in saying that. I agree with Edgar. I agree with everything that he said.
Now, let me ask you all guys. We sometimes as commentators...
Cecil, before you leave, you need to play Figures some, yeah?
Figures, yes.
Yes, I need, that is one of my favorite songs.
So
we haven't played it
yet.
I plan to...
You're giving me some cocoa tea to drink tonight?
I plan to
Oh, you bring me on the show and you sending me dry soap?
I'm coming on to them. I'm coming on to them for sure. No, let me ask Duncan and Wackers and Edgar. In reference to people singing out of tune, give us a description as to what is really, truly singing out of tune.
Well, musically, there's a thing called the key. You sing in key. The key is really musical notes or connotations that signifies that you don't go out of the key. And so, if you have the key of A, you sing in A, you should maintain singing. Basically, like theoretically, you stay in that key. It's like, and I mentioned it a couple years ago, it's like walking on a main road and going on the side of the road.
But Cecil,
so, yeah.
Wackers,
yes?
Ask Cecil to play the 5 rules of Calypso. If you stick to the rudiments
of this, yeah.
You cannot go off.
Not tonight.
No. Just to let's look at Chubby. Chubby maybe wasn't a trained musician, but he's a natural musician, and Chubby never go out of key, no matter what. So, and when you go out of key with song unpleasing to the ears, the person that is listening say, "Boy, Mr. doesn't sound well." That is when they really go out of key, But if you maintain staying in that lane, as they say, in my lane, I don't go on the sidewalk, I still in lane. That's basically what it means. And you sing in key. And so if you are judging something, that's why you say melody involves sticking in key, staying in your own lane musically.
Well, the boss has spoken.
That's one of the rudiments, Cecil. You have the basics. We have to stick to the basics. That's 5 rules of Calypso.
Yep.
You have to stick in
together
key.
For Emil Philip, Brother Valentino.
Wherever horse reach, jackass could reach. This might sound like a fancy speech. It may just take a longer time, and time longer than twine. But for I to gain recognition in this biased Calypso competition, like all them judges would have to go and let Calypsonians judge Calypso. Cause they don't know a damn thing but melody.
strong. Number 3, well, of course, is your rendition. But that don't mean you are a Calypsonian. Well, to whom this topic may concern, there is still 2 important rules to learn. Number 4, your key of orchestration. And number 5, stage presentation. So come over there. As a famous politician to be a Calypsonian. But if you love the art from the bottom of your heart, learn these 5 rules before you start. Well, of course, you may be shy for the first or second time, but try your best and make up your mind. And if you keep a steady head using these 5 rules that I've said, without a weapon you could kill them dead. Number 1, the topic that you're singing on. Number 2, you got to keep your lyrics strong. Number 3, well, of course, is your rendition. But that don't mean you are a Calypsonian. I know who this topic may concern. There is still 2 important rules to learn. Number 4, your key of orchestration. And number 5, stage presentation. Oh, ba, 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 dee, ba, ba.
Yes, guys, this one, 5 rules of Calypso, and I'm sure that many other people out there listening and understood what the Calypsonian said in terms of the 5 rules of Calypso. So I'm going to play this one, very short one, and to tell me if actually that individual kept to the 5 rules of Calypsos.
Oh yes, the man of vibes. 7 o'clock one COVID evening, when the nation listening, waiting to hear an update about the pandemic in we state. So they bring in a legal luminary to talk about legality. He quote sections 1 to 63. Still no one understand he. People jump up from their bed. They find something weird, cause his speech confused everybody head. The PM found never again to put the nation through so much pain. They say the senior counsel too smart, or he just have too much brain. But the man have vibes, the Saint Laurent have vibes. It's we the people that don't understand his vibes. He's too bright. A Rasta lawyer drinking a jelly, nearly choke on section 23 and ball. The partner really have vibes. I lie. Oh yes.
I lie, guys. Is this
the man have vibes, haven't you?
the man of vibes?
Respect that, the man have
the man of
vibes.
vibes?
But I mean, this is a Calypsonian, honestly, who is working hard at the craft. I mean, to me, she has improved tremendously. But one of the main problems she has, if you cannot sing on the beat, for example, in Calypso, that is a serious fault. As a Calypsonian, you have to be, on any singer, you have to be able to sing on the beat. And you see she's having a lot of difficulty. Sometimes she's going on the beat, off the beat, she's everywhere, and that is something we call it a timing. Then also, I find in terms of this song, in terms of metering, I find sometimes you have to rush some lines, like as if the lines longer, you know, so you actually see that she rushing the lines, you know, so she have a meter problem, and then she goes on and off the key, you know, so she have, but I must say I saw at Mass Camp, man, we saw our workers, and I mean, she has improved tremendously from where she started, you know, and I really like that song, especially the hook. The man have vibes.
So Workers, what advice would you now give?
I some people, there are Calypsonians that come from the ranks. They come from junior monarch. You see, Duncan Stowe is a Calypsonian come from the junior monarch. If he had gone to the thing, he came from that sort of rank, like where he came from a certain thing, and he grew up, and he eventually learned. And besides that, there's something about him that is maybe natural in terms of music, the ability he understands, he can play, he understands music. I think the only thing I can say about honestly what Edgar just said, she had areas in which she has to improve, and he hit them exactly on the head, and I don't want to repeat them. It's obvious. If you have to say, and she's another Calypsonian, probably you can say, really trying hard, really want to. You see, there's a will.
Sure.
But there are fundamental things about music that you have to learn and you have to keep. Sometimes it comes naturally. There are natural musicians and there are people who learn it. You can actually learn it. You can learn the theory of music without playing music. And I think it's important for all musicians, no matter what you play, to learn and understand what they're into. It's like any job. You have to understand what you're into to do it better, to learn, so you can integrate, you can learn, you can risk, you can take other things. And I think that's the area. She just generally have to improve in those 5 areas.
Would you say that Duncan was much better than his brother since?
Well, Duncan won one of the first SMA winners, in Calypso.
That's not a big stage, yeah?
Because Duncan didn't reach at that level. Duncan didn't perform.
John Jules at the age of 16 won a crown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Off key.
Well,
John Jules.
I don't know who was George.
Solo. It was called Swallow.
Oh.
That's what they call Swallow.
Oh. From Vickers.
From Vickers.
Mind me, please. I didn't say that.
Swallow.
That's really looking for trouble.
No,
I didn't say that.
I don't think so. I know Swallow.
Yeah,
Swallow never.
Swallow won a junior monarch.
I remember that.
I'm not sure if he sang off.
That was years ago.
No. I remember him. And he's my good friend. I remember he's one of the first junior Calypso kings in Dominica.
Right.
Just like Augustus Libre, Jim Man,
Yes.
Duncan Stowe, all these guys, before Element and these guys came from Duncan and them was there. But I'm saying
Trinidad was in that.
I'm saying, sometimes people think we come here and we try to be too you don't want to be too academic, but sometimes you have to say what it is. And I know what I'm talking about. Duncan know what you're talking. Edgar know what you're talking about. You have areas of improvement. To take it like a criticism too much. Take it like something you got an advice. You go and you do your homework. I remember when I started playing, really I was not confident and I was making a lot of mistakes because I lack. And I go into the areas where I have to improve myself, and I go and I practice and I work hard, and now I can play with more confidence. I'm telling you, I can go really confidently. Sure. And that's how you are, that's how you develop. And it's not a criticism. So some people take it personal, but it's not that. It's just about doing the craft you like and getting into it and learning about
practicing.
Duncan.
Practicing.
Well, I mean, there isn't much that I can say. What else can I say after having heard Edgar and Wackers? And I think the areas that they spoke about and the points that they made are very, very important. And I guess the artists definitely should take them in the stride, in her own stride, and take the critiquing of her performance and her song in the vein at which they were made. And Wackers, again, Wackers was making the point that, it's not really, you're not really criticizing, you're critiquing, and persons need to see it from that perspective. And it's practice and more practice that makes you perfect.
Wackers and Duncan and Edgar, I remembered when we were growing up, right? We used to have to drink bush tea at night time.
I still drink bush tea at night.
We still do.
From time to time, I still drink bush tea.
And our mother would tell us, our mothers would say to us that we have to drink tea to give us, porte. You see, we need to dite about porte, and that is to give you strength. Yeah. And they would say to you, we need to kako salets. And they would sometimes send you to grind the meal and to have the kaku to be made.
When you giving me my kaku, Cecil?
So we're hearing now the sale of kaku tea.
Cocoa sticks. Mystery. Things getting harder. Things getting harder. I have to try something to earn a living. I must dress sexy for my customers to see. When they see the product, they will support me. I try selling fig, that not selling. Dashing and Christophine, that not selling. But when I started selling my cocoa sticks, people talking, something happening. People talking, something happening. Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? If you want wet cocoa, I selling it. If you want dry cocoa, you can get it. Any kind of cocoa, I selling it. Hot or cold cocoa, you can get it. Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? Cocoa sticks. Cocoa sticks. Mystery. Things really bad. Things really bad. Who in the kitchen that feeling the heat? I might be smiling, but I know what I'm feeling. I have to do something to earn a living. I try selling pepper, but pepper burning. Bakes and Accra, that not selling. But when I advertise my cocoa sticks, people talking, my cocoa selling. My sales rising, my cocoa selling. Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? If you want wet cocoa, I selling it. If you want dry cocoa, you can get it. Any kind of cocoa, I selling it. Hot or cold cocoa, can get it. Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? Cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale, cocoa for sale. Who buying it? Who buying it? Cocoa sticks. Cocoa sticks. Mystery.
You know what? I love some of the parts of that song, guys. Talking about pepper burning, talking about dry cocoa, wet cocoa. What a song, guys! On Saturday night. Cocoa sticks.
I appreciate the fact that she's diversifying. And
this one is from Bassi, yeah? This one is from Bassi.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. And I was just going to talk about Bassi. Bassi seems to capture them kind of hooks. He does it very well, and I'm very anticipative about what So is going to sing this year, because I know Bassi writes for So. So I expect something good from So. And here is another example of somebody that maintains the key. You notice she never someone pleasing to the ears, because if she goes off key, you'll hear it. You know, that's something. Right away, you know that somebody has experience. Very experienced singer.
But with the experience, I catch her there literally almost breathless in the delivery.
Well, maybe the use of voice, you know,
yes.
maybe in terms of breathing and how you use. I think sometimes you come there, depending on the song, and you want to sing it so much, and you're excited. So it affects how you breathe or control, voice control, then they call that. So maybe, obviously, when she's more relaxed, somebody has to talk to her. That's where the manager comes in and help them to relax themselves. Not that they cannot sing. They're excited, they go on stage, you have to relax, sit down. And here's a good example. Good song, well delivered. You could see her on stage, because a lot of times I found people on stage, I was watching and I saw some guys singing and they watching back, they watching side, they turn in. So when she comes, she there with you right at the front, no matter, even though it's a virtual lad, people watching. So, and that's why I like it. I like this song from Me Would Go. Obviously, it's a song that will catch everybody's attention.
Edgar?
It's a very creative piece, and again, kudos to Bassi for this wonderful piece. And I think Bassi choosing some of the weaker Kaisonians and he developing them. Like the work he has done is also over the past 2 years. And now that work he is doing with Mystery. Is Mystery what's her name?
Mystery.
Yeah.
Mystery.
I mean, I heard her last year and I was asking myself, but having Cauliflower is back in Calypso, man. Because she has that kind of husky kind of voice like Cauliflower. And what I found though, couple of things that my advice to our management would be like for the next round, her dressing. You maybe should dress her more like a market vendor, more than like more wop duet, so that you can restrict her from jumping around too much, because she really got breathless on a number of occasions, and I think that happened because she moving and jumping around too much. But if you restrict her with clues, in terms not in terms of the presentation, but you restrict her so that she don't have to jump around too much, and I mean the market vendor come and sell.
And then she have to sing her entire song.
Yes, right. So because every year there is a song that the public brings to the finals, and I've identified that one so far. As you say, we haven't heard Sour Sour yet, but I've identified that one as the people's song. Every year pass, I mean, I saw how many TikToks and names, all that about that song already. The Cocoa for Sale. So she's.
I saw what it boy.
Yeah.
Pass out alone.
Yeah, well, that is similar, So I mean, her management need to ensure that they keep under control. The public will help her to get through. Just ensure that she sing, so that she doesn't give the judges anything to put out. But I think that's what that's what we're looking for in Calypso. Let us have some humor. Let us have some fun. Let us get something to laugh about. It cannot be always about, I mean, I like political songs, I'll tell you. They have to eat too, but we need those kinds of songs, those happy songs, so that we can enjoy and have a good time.
Edgar, before Duncan speaks, there's someone on the line. Let me hear the person has to say. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Cecil?
Yes.
CP,
Yes.
that girl there just finishing Coco State.
Yes.
She's this Calypsonian that's singing on beat. She has singing the best on beat. While I listen to her, she's singing on the beat. She's not dragging words. She's not dragging her words. She's singing on the beat. When I listen to her and listen to all of them, she's singing the best on beat. Yeah. She's more comfortable singing. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vicky.
My grandson, I find he's stressing too much on some certain words. Yeah, he has to be bawling it out, when you're singing, if you have to say, I love you, you can't say, I love you half. Love is a kind and gentle word. Love, I love you.
Wow.
The same angle.
Wow.
Picky, you have to take him and bring him in the camp.
He doesn't listen to me.
He's a superstar already.
Like my brother Pitlock. If Pitlock is to come home, I tell him, come and check me. Let me show him how to use words and how to articulate words. Because you can't use all the words the same way. That's right. Words you have to cool out on. That's words you have to emphasize on.
Yep.
Have nothing gets one of it. Have nothing gets one. You can't say that. Have nothing gets one of it. I love you. We have to love is a kind and gentle word. You have to know how to use the word.
Thank you, Maestro.
I learned to sing by Purcell Christian father,
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to clean up for him everything. He used to teach me how to sing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks again, man.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Duncan.
Well, I think the artist, it has been said, and we all know that she's a very experienced person. She's used to the stage. And, save and except for the issue as it relates to breathlessness. That is something that she has to look at, because that can throw you off in terms of the judges hearing what it is you're saying and affect your whole performance and delivery. She certainly was one of the better performers on the night. And of course, her experience shows, both in terms of her ability to sing in key and on the beat, that came across. The song, of course, I made it clear that it's a song that I like. That's another good example where you can identify a narrative. An account is being given of something, an event, but in that case, in terms of her experiences, her life experiences, her hard times, and what she decides she's going to do for her survival. So you get in a clear account, Cecil, a clear narrative comes across there.
Yeah, she identifies the problem and she gives the solution.
Well,
Voila.
right now I'm going to play one that is going to give you again narratives. But as we said earlier on about yourself, listen to this one.
Yes, I am a born Dominican, a school Dominican. I love co-ed schools, accounts, and mathematics. From young I had a love for figures, a love for numbers. The bigger the figure, more excitement it was for me. Love the figures big, 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 big. Value for my money. Don't like them small, 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 small. No challenge at all. Love the figures big, 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 big. The bigger the better. More time to calculate. Don't like them small, 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 small. It takes no effort working them out at all. But big, big figures is a man's desire. Once you can handle it, then make a move on it. Here we go now. Bim bam 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 bim bam bam. Way. I am a born Dominican, unemployed Dominican, senior loans officer at the NBD. My job entails working hard on figures, getting specific numbers. My clients smile when our figures show compatibility. Love the figures big, 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 big. Value for my money. Don't like them small, 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 small. No challenge at all. Love the figures big, 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 big. The bigger the better, set by the manager. Don't like them small, 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 small. It takes no effort working them out at all. But big, big figures is an account and desire. Once you can handle it, then make a move on it. Where the figures? Bim bam bam.
Figures, guys. Figures. Duncan, Walkers, and Edgar.
Well, it's an interesting play on word. Duncan like to call it the double entendre. Use of the double entendre there. You're playing on the word figures, and it's left to your interpretation. But I like the fact that I like when Calypsonians use their self in a Calypso. Remember when Hurricane had that song, Blow Hurricane Blow? Or when Dice did that song, Roll the Dice on Me, they use, to me, I like, when, let's say Observer talk about the observing. I like when Calypsonians do that in Calypso.
Put the bricks on them.
Yeah, put the bricks on them, and I see that one in Dong, that realm, where he used where he works, his father was a statistician, he himself like accounts and like he work at Inland Revenue, etc., etc., and then play on the wood figures, so I think it's a very good Calypso. I realized on Saturday he wasn't taking any chances. He really basically wanted to get through, so it was a simple performance because he was very confident. I guess his song was strong enough to pull him. So, but I expect, knowing who trendsetter is to see a lot of drama coming up in the tent and even in the competitions, because he's a guy that, he's one of my favorite artists in terms of on stage. When you talk about, he may not have the best voice, but when you talk about presentation and that movement on the stage, he uses all the stage and he's very confident and comfortable on the stage. So I expect him to do very well this year with that song.
Duncan?
Very promising. I think this is one of his best years. I mean, we have seen great performances from the trendsetter in the past. He has had good songs, but I think definitely this song is one of the most complete complete in terms of the lyrical content and complete, I think, in terms of the ability to perform. And Hunter indicated, Edgar, that on that night, on the night, Saturday night, he didn't take any chances, and that was clear. I think he certainly has to work and practice his way with that song in terms of being able to deliver it in the manner in which it maybe ought to be delivered from his perspective.
And I also think props would help very much to bring out the message, Before you go, Walkers, I just want to know that the song was written by Peter Litter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you spell him.
Peter Litter.
Okay, but I agree, I concur with what Edgar and Duncan said. I may just have a little, I'm not sure if it's just a query or just a concern regarding the opening line. I am a born Dominican, something Dominican, and then he repeated in the second verse again. The fact that he's a figures man and numbers, and the fact that he said he's a Dominican, I tried to see the relationship between the two. Obviously, he's a Dominican, but I would have probably I am a statistician, I am a mathematician, and then he could have used it probably in the second opening, but he repeated it. You can do that. You can start a song, first verse, second verse, and repeat your opening lines. But I feel there is room to indicate as well that and establish the fact that he's a numbers man. And I think by saying, I am a born Dominican, which we know, I try to get the relationship with that. But although I say maybe he's trying to relate, as a Dominican, he like figures. But somebody may argue and say, not every Dominican are like figures, There are some that really deals with other things.
Or maybe he's trying to say that Dominicans love figures generally.
Right. But I am still saying, while I don't criticize it, I'm saying there is the room for that. There's room that he could also indicate that he's a
different interpretation.
Like my father. His father is one of the best, maybe the best statistician Dominica ever saw, Mr. Murphy. So therefore, he could even say that he's a statistician like his father.
But I don't mind it as a development, It's a line to catch you. I'm a born Dominican where you go in.
It doesn't matter.
I'm a school Dominican.
I
love figures.
I love co-ed schools. Accounts and mathematics.
No problem.
That's where you go in.
No problem. I'm just saying
I love figures.
He could do it. He could.
Yes, I know, but I'm just saying I like the development, that he catch me. I mean, where you going?
Okay.
I'm a born Dominican,
But I mean, Walker's
but you
point
have a
has
good
merit.
point too, Walker.
Walker's point does have merit.
Yeah, but sometimes you have what they call the element of surprise, where you, instead of what we expect normally, you catch us in a different way.
Yeah, but in that song, he's straightforward. I mean, he's saying clearly that he likes figures, he's a born Dominican, and obviously he's trying to relate it to Dominican, like in maybe the bigger size.
Oh, plenty money, big numbers.
Okay.
Kicks the
we agree to
I'm
this.
stunned. I'm stunned by the three of you. To tell me
that's my boy.
So let me ask the last question for the night. Is it a play of words? Figures?
Of course.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Because I like figures too.
Mouth open, Tori jump out.
Yeah, that's why that's my song.
So we can clearly say it's a play of words.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, if you listen to the song clearly.
Yes, he's spinning. Right.
Guys, come to the end of the show. Let me start. Early on when I started with Duncan. Let me now start with the man, Wackers. Wackers, our closing words.
Well, it has been a good start, obviously. I always tell them that Edgar Duncan, we have different minds, but we all sync,
True.
We sing very well together.
Very true.
And obviously, there's always room. The ideas keep coming. And Duncan mentioned early, I had that idea. When we were coming in there, I told Duncan, there is something, we don't have to call it the best Calypsonians from Dominica, but we'd say if we have 5 Dominican Calypsonians worth mentioning, who are the 5? So it's just like we can create things for our show and make it a little more like, only the whole theme of Calypsos. So we look at 5 Dominican Calypsonians worth mentioning. So obviously Edgar might start to work, Duncan might work, my mind work, we come up with the 5, and we can have a whole show on that. So that is just an area. I really appreciate, I look forward to coming here and talk Calypso. I'm not the best in Calypso, my strength is obviously music, and I look at music in its totality.
And you play Calypso music, so...
I'm the silent listener to every conversation, and I take my time to speak, but I analyze things before I do. And then I agree. I listen and I learn from, and I try to develop. And that is the thing about it. So I really appreciate coming here, and I thank you, Cecil, for that. Obviously, I always tell you, Cecil, you saw that in me, and you were the first to really bring it out. So thank you very much. And, besides Olin Bully, my mentor. So... There you go. I thank you for having me here tonight, and we look forward to next week.
Edgar?
Thank you very much, Cecil. It's always a pleasure to be in the house. Since I'm a little boy, I've been listening to the great Duncan Stowe. He used to work at GIS at the time, always in the media. And I followed him doing Calypso, old school Calypso, on another program, on another radio station. So Duncan is somebody I really admire in terms of his knowledge of Calypso, and the way he analyzes. His analysis is not an emotional one. He understands what he's speaking about, and that's the pattern I want to follow. That you go, you research, you get the knowledge, and then that you may not be right all the time. But the fact is that when you speak, that you educate your listeners and you assist in the development of Calypso. Workers, I kind of disappointed in my ex-boss, Workers, to see that he doesn't have any play. The man have played Calypso. The man has written Calypso. The man has managed Calypso. Help manage tent. Come on, these are the kind of attributes you need to have to be a commentator on Calypso. And you know where you're coming from. And what I like is that you don't follow. You analyze and you say it how you see it, because you don't. I remember I said I think a song should be slowed down, although I still feel so. But in your mind, you give your reason why you feel maybe the tempo is alright. And they even made a greater contribution to say that they should look at the musical arrangement and how to improve it. So Cecil is wonderful. Next week, as we said, that part of our things of this program should focus on highlighting some of the trailblazers, the gladiators, I call them, of Calypso, the people who have contributed in a really, really big way. And one way you could look at, I remember Alex Bruno I was part of his committee looking at the Calypso Hall of Fame, and a number of people who were put in the Hall of Fame for their contribution to Calypso. And I think Picky was one of them. So that is something we need to look at, and really highlight them. So we have at least spend a half an hour, because we spend we're there from 8:30 till 12. So spend at least a half an hour just doing that. But we haven't got to lose focus that we have to also promote the Calypso art form. And this year for me, Calypso looks like going to be a very good year for Calypso. And because based on these songs, I've heard a number of songs, and I would like to invite people to come to Mass Camp this Friday. Again, and those who cannot come, but you can follow us on DBS Radio on Facebook and on YouTube. And as I say, this is the most clarity in Dominica now when it comes for clarity in video work. DBS Radio is number one. I have a message from Sai that he sent me today, and he told me, wow, DBS have really, really, really good quality and clarity. So I want to big you all up for that.
Thank you, Duncan.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here once more. It's always good to be in the company of Cecil, Walkers, and Edgar, and of course, well, we had Daryl on Saturday evening. Well, I have no issue in being part of the production and sharing the knowledge. I'm one of those who believe that you cannot put intellectual property claim to words. So if that's the case, then writers have to be willing to adjust from time to time when comments come from any one of us as it relates to maybe, as Awakas was given an example a while ago, as it related to Narin's Calypso. So we're looking forward to a great season again, a very promising season. So guys, gals, put your best foot forward next time around.
Thank you very much, guys. At least we started very early this time around, and we'll be again meeting next week Tuesday, where, as I said, that we should bring in Piki, one of Dominica's own, to discuss with us, a number of areas. And I hope that when he makes it, that we can have an open discussion and to move forward. In my closing, I'm going to play just this one.
love while they had overpower. Hear God, I pray. Hear me as I say, keep beauty in power.
If I born to hunger and suffer, tell me then what I living for. I don't know if I go see daylight. Prosperity is out of sight. I see the wicked, praising the wicked here in this country for killing Timothy, his son as bishop. Supports them Russian in their invasion of Afghanistan. Though I am duty bound, whenever they do wrong, that I put them in song. After all, mortal man, you were greater with your power. You were greater than Shiloh, 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 Shiloh. Through the years, yes, we Calypsonian have sung about the good deeds of man. But now that all our leaders are corrupt, all them praises have had to stop. For when Somoza of Nicaragua, he sold the millions from his own nation, and if Gaddafi and if Dada Idi thinks it is wisdom to destroy Ugandan, then I am duty bound. Whenever they do wrong, that I put them in song. After all, mortal man, you were greater, you were greater, you were mightier than Shiloh, 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 Shiloh. But we'll go on, me chop dozen sparrow. Robins they short, short and narrow. Without bias, prejudice or abuse, to sing about them wicked issues. Look at the Iman over in Iran, living in glory and claiming theology. Syriac Madari fights with Khomeini, and so Iranian just killing Iranian. Though I am duty bound, whenever they do wrong, that I put them in song. Because when David blow over Rosa in my sorrow, he who saved me was Shiloh, 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 Shiloh. those in corruption and deceit, that they'll take heed and correct their misdeed, thus promising a progressive lead. So farewell, Bokassa, and your massacre. Let people be happy over in New Guinea and in the Caribbean. Too many to mention, it's many leaders who portray Satan. Oh, I am duty bound whenever they do wrong, that I put them in song, because no mortal man can be greater with your power. He is greater than Shiloh, 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 Shiloh.
Where people, all kinds of boom boom roll. It was like carnival, Mama look back canal. I said we'll have a bright economy. Private sector will invest liberally, but to my surprise, nothing materialized. Like hell I criticize. They say I am this, they say I am that. They say I am true, they say I am hard. Before freedom come, they were scared to turn. Now their party won, not a damn thing is done. That's why when we meet, anytime we greet, all I do is smile and say hi, hypocrites. Da, 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 da. Much energy was spent, but they got a government. One with integrity, one with more honesty. And private sector, what you waiting for? Are you not eager to invest no more? No, you should create employment all about. Instead you sell it out. So they say I am this, they say I am that. They say I am true, they say I am hard. Before freedom come, it was scared to turn. From your party won, not a damn thing is done. That's why when we meet, whenever we greet, all I do is smile and say hi, hypocrites. You see expanding. Brother, the facts are here. You can look everywhere. Is it not Venus and Ed Centilier? Encourage purpose, papi, carried. As I tell colleagues, this is not politics, but straight economics. So they say I am this, they say I am that. They say I am true, they say I am hard. Before freedom come, it was scared of John. Now your party won, not a damn thing is done. That's why when we meet, anytime we greet, all I do is smile and say, right, hypocrite. say they love this land, yet they would lend a hand to build this country up, to get us to the top. Whether you back them like true or freedom, this country you have to help us reform. So private sector, come on, stop wasting time. Come on and help us climb. Say I have this, they say I have that. Spidey emotions, Spidey emo heart. We all have freedom, but no freedom won. Private sector, come help this country move on. Till then when we meet, anytime we greet, all I do is smile and say bye.
But it's over to Spider on stage.
Oh, world of envy, strife and shame, how long must man suffer such pain? Unrighteousness, unhappiness, plus poverty, misery and sorrow. Don't know what will be tomorrow. Dear John, I see corruption. Yeah, corruption. Everybody keep crying, cost of living keep rising without solution.